Hello, man babies, and it's great to be with you all again. And sorry we're running a little bit late. Brownie was just finishing off his jigsaw in the green room, but we've got them all ready now. And today, just to remind you of the calendar date, it's Wednesday, March the 15th. The year is the year of our Lord 2023. I am, of course, Ruin Johnson, the greatest Star Wars and Hollywood director, writer, and biggest roundhead on the planet Earth. I trust you're all doing very well. It's good to see you all in the chat room. And on this evening's stream and podcast, we are discussing the third episode of Season 3 of The Mandalorian. But before we begin, I have some legal disclaimers to go through. So you can find us here on YouTube, or if you prefer your entertainment in podcast audio form, we are also on Spotify. The links are in the description. And also, if you prefer us in our adult entertainment form, you'll find us on OnlyFans as well. So, if you've shut down for the evening, as Mr. Brown, the Yorkshire Ripper, always says, lots to get through. Shall we get the guests out? Well, I suppose I'll answer that question myself. Of course we should. So, first of all, from a VPN far, far away, he's the golden reach-around droid of choice. It's your and mine favourite android. It's Zee-ThreePIO. Hello, Z. How are you doing?
Oh, good evening, Master Ruin. A pleasure to be with you once more.
Oh, it's so good to have you on again. Now you've endured another episode of Mando. Are you ready to get stuck into this one, Z?
Well, normally, sir, I'd watch each episode twice, once for entertainment purposes, and the second for notes and references. But unfortunately, this week, I'd rather have my exhaust port smashed open by Uncle Owen without lube than watch it for a second time.
Oh Lord, this is, well, as I say, the worse Mando gets, the better these stream gets, and today was particularly fucking awful. So we're in for a good stream, and I hope you're all locked and loaded in the chat room. So Z, should we see what other reprobates we've got hanging around in the green room?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes, let's roll the dice and see who we've got. So, what does the script say? Our next guest is. It's not him, or it's not him. I'm going to have to move on. It's the wise elder of the channel. We normally reserve him till much later, but we had to skip a couple of guests. He is our very own director, the man with the knowledge, the man with the inside track. He is hyped for this one, folks. He came hot in the green room, and he's really going to give it some guns tonight. It is Mega Geek Ian David Diaz. How you doing, Mega Geek?
All right. Yeah. This episode was absolute bollocks. But what can you do, hey? What can you do?
Oh, take a drink for every expletive, man, babies, because there's going to be a few tonight. But yes, it was somehow got even worse, didn't it, Ian? But
it did. I think it's traveling down the what's that last one? That was really boring. What was that one called? I see. I've even forgotten myself.
Blandor.
That's it. That's the one. Blandor. Yeah. It's even getting worse, isn't it? It's just honestly, I don't know what Disney's doing to Star Wars. They really are destroying it, aren't they? They really are.
It's well, all that's left is to just watch it burn down and laugh as it does. But anyway, the green room suddenly filled up. Everyone's wanting to get on this stream. So should we get another reprobate out, Ian?
Why not?
Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. So next up, we see the good in him. He is the man I like to call the Dark Lord Sith Chord. It's Lord Chord. How you doing, Lord Chord?
Good evening. How are you?
I'm very good, sir. Long time no speak. First time we hook up this year after our dogging session in December, and that's
wait, we
wintry
were on the
night,
same stream 2 weeks ago. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah.
And also, I've never dogged you. Just to throw that one in there.
Sorry, I'm confusing with not Brian. Sorry, I am sorry, Lord Chord. But look, I can make it up for you. We've got a rip-roaring episode for you to unleash on, and I know you like your critical analysis. Are you ready to get stuck into this one?
Oh, I'll do my best. Yeah.
Oh, you bring your best, sir, because it's what we expect. Okay, but look, unbelievably, there are more man babies lined up in the green room. Should we see who else we've got lurking in the shadows?
Well, when there's a really strong smell of shit, all the flies start buzzing, so I guess you have to bring them out.
Let's bring out the flies. Okay, so next up, he is... I scroll through my notes to get his official encore. What is it? Okay, here we go. Drum roll, please. Watch out, War and Peace. It's the Star Wars novelist, the jester from Leicester. It's Swappers.
Oh, hello, everybody. I've just come fresh from watching this garbage, so I can't wait to...
Oh, he's just...
You can't wait to... Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
What are we doing again?
Gotcha. Sorry?
I forgot what we're doing. Oh, yeah, that's it. Mandalorian, yeah.
Just woken up from watching The Mandalorian.
The Blandalorian.
Yes. I was doing a bit of novel writing earlier on myself, and then I settled down to finish doing the novel writing and watch this. And my novel, it is most boring, drawn-out parts, is a million times more exciting than what we got in this show. But yes.
Well, I hope it doesn't influence you, because you may find your writing going rapidly downhill if that's the case. But
I'm hoping. Yeah, I mean, it probably would have been better if I hadn't watched it, because it might creep in influential areas. So I've just got to purge myself some way. If I can use that brain thingy that was used in the episode to kind of wipe my memory of it, I think that'd be very handy. Well, anyway, who's next?
Could hand them out after watching the show.
As long as you never get to the point where your characters are running down the train and they reach the end of the train and it's really obviously the end of the train and you have a character say, "It's the end of the train." Just don't do that and you'll be better.
Yeah. One of many fantastic scenes which we're going to explore. But look, we've got... Can we fit one more on? I don't know what the limits are to this stream thing, but apparently we've got one more in the green room who's very keen to get involved. So should we get him out?
Please.
Let's get him out. Okay. So everybody, last but no means least, mainly because we couldn't get anyone else. But that's harsh. I don't like that line. He wrote that himself. I'm not having it. It's the man I like to call the Yorkshire Ripper. He's the sexiest 56-year-old in the county of Yorkshire. He is the man who runs the show, who gives me the keys, and who's not going to be happy because I've probably already demonetized them. It's Mr. Brown. Get out here, Brownie. God damn it.
He's busy. Oh no, we've interrupted him.
Hi.
He's paused it on the unfortunate scene of the Mandalorian.
Oh, he's still hurting from having to watch this.
Come on, Brown. Stop pretending you can still get it up. How are you doing, sir?
Twice I watched this. It was the slowest 5 years of my life.
Oh, I mean, I say this one more time. The special effects were really good in this.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah. Production value is off the charts.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm so amazed at how the effects are so good in such a bad show.
Come on, let's not get bogged down in that.
Oh, he's getting the catchphrase in early, folks.
Hello, Ruin.
Hello,
big,
look,
lovely
Brownie.
man, baby
before
destroyer of Kathleen Kennedy's. You. Hello.
Ooh. Brown, before we get into
Hello,
anything,
chat.
I've got some important questions to ask you.
Proceed.
Okay. Brown, are you experiencing any undue stress due to work or personal matters?
Always.
Have you experienced any anger or resentment towards your streaming colleagues?
All the time.
Have you experienced any anger or resentment towards the writers of Disney Star Wars?
No, actually.
Oh, well, thank you for being an important part of the Brown Alliance program.
Yes!
You're free to join the stream. There we go.
Thank you, sir.
For those who've not even watched The Mandalorian, you won't get that reference. But anyway, here we go. It's and already, Brownie, you're getting gifts from your loyal fan base.
Beautiful. Here we go. Shall I read it out?
Go for it.
F. McPherson in the chat for the... I'll start again. My teeth have not warmed up. For the pain, Mr. Brown. $10. Thanks.
It's nice of her.
It's lovely, isn't it? What a gesture. But here we are. We're at we're Mandalorian episode, unbelievably only episode 3. I don't know how many more of these fucking things we've got to sit through. But Yes, it's episode 3. Brownie sent me the official details. It is the episode was called "We Give Up." It was written by committee and it was directed by Who Cares. So should we get into this goddamn thing?
Yes.
Small print on the screen. I can't read it. You probably can't either. It says something about subscribe. Every single click helps the channel grow. Oh, my eyesight must be getting better. Or your font's getting bigger, Brown. I don't know which one. But as always, tell your friends, tell your family, and let's get this goddamn channel where it belongs and into the 2000s. Is that what we're aiming for, Brown?
We've just passed 17,700 subs.
Getting there.
We're getting there, bit by
getting
bit.
there.
Slow and steady.
Poster for the Mandalorian.
What was a bit deceiving for this week's episode?
Yeah. Should we just do quick thoughts?
Quick thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
got my stopwatch at the ready. We'll start with you, Brown, because you're hot on the mic. 30 seconds. We know you can crack one off in that time, so go for it.
It looks fantastic. I remember TIE interceptors. I remember something else as well, which I can't remember at the moment.
You remember something you can't remember?
At the moment, yes. Something is going on here. Favreau is up to something, or is, as I said, the script by committee. Something's going on. It's appalling. It's abysmal.
It's appalling.
I just wanted to just give up while I was doing the slides.
What, on life?
Yeah.
Oh dear,
This
Brownie.
I would say in all the 2 and a bit years I've been doing this channel, this was the most painful production.
What, more painful than Boba Fett episode 3?
No, Brian did that.
Well,
Also, at least
the most painful episode.
that was funny, and this wasn't.
Brown's just pissed off because he can't outsource his work anymore. Z, give me your pithy thoughts of this this particular episode.
It was precisely 40 minutes too long. And I think you all know what I'm referring to, and we'll go through it during the slides. The whole Dr. Pershing thing did not make a lick of sense why it was in there. We don't need to know the Rebels version of Operation Paperclip. It was ridiculously executed. And, just jump from the fast train onto this crash mat. It was absolutely terrible. But I am geared up and looking forward to reviewing it with you all.
Yes.
Oh, we can't wait. We could be on for an all-time low score tonight. I do feel it. Mega Geek, I know you've got a lot to say, but just give me your opening gambit, if you would, sir.
It was bollocks. That was the word to describe the whole thing. It's absolute nonsense, right? It really was. It's just, that's all I'm going to say. It's just rubbish. It's just, I don't even know if I'm going to watch the next episode because it's just absolute nonsense. It really is.
Scathing.
Oh, you're going to see it through.
See what through? I mean, come on. I mean, it starts off with a what do you call it? A dogfight in the sky, doesn't it? And they just put it in because they haven't got any story.
Yeah, well, you remember TIE interceptors?
Yeah, I remember
there
them.
You go. I remember.
Running this into the ground, running Star Wars into the ground, aren't they? They really are just absolute. I mean, I can understand why people would. I mean, kids were like this, weren't they? It's got action, got pew pew, but then I'll get bored and leave when that doctor turns up. I really just thought he was going to be in it for like 5 minutes, and it was the whole episode. I was like, what the hell? Anyway, I shall stop there.
Oh, he's just getting started, folks. F. McPherson. Do we know what the F in F. McPherson stands for?
Fanny.
It's Fanny.
Fanny
Fuckable.
McPherson.
Oh, Brown.
I'm just going to go.
Sake, man. Brown's girlfriend there, tossing him another $1. We do appreciate it, and he did go through almighty pain tonight.
Oh,
but look,
bless you.
if there's a man who can find a positive in anything, it's Lord Shord. Lord, can you somehow give me something for this episode?
Yeah,
Anything?
Because I've been on semi-holiday, I only got around to watching episode 2 yesterday, and I was shouting at the TV, it was that bad. This one, I was not shouting at the TV at all. So this one, I don't hate as much as the last two. This one, I would be happy not to have watched, but it didn't really elicit terribly awful feelings of anger, bitterness, and regret. It was just, okay. So yeah, the writing wasn't a shit. It's because nothing happens, and if nothing happens, it's hard to do something wrong. So that is as about as positive as I can possibly be about it. It wasn't good, but at least it wasn't utterly stupid. At least in this one, the dialogue kind of sometimes matched the scenes the dialogue was attached to. Whereas in episode 2, they were saying things which bore no resemblance to what we were actually seeing on the screen quite often. So, yeah, still not good, but not as mind-numbingly shite as the last one was.
It comes to something when just not breaking the TV is a positive thing, but we get it.
Weird, it doesn't make any sense. So if you just mentally took the first scene of this episode and the last scene of this episode and you stuck them on the previous episode, it makes a lot more sense. And I'm pretty sure what they did was just steal the ultimate part of episode 2 and bookend this episode with it, because the episode that they ended up with had absolutely nothing happening. It was just walking through a circus for an hour. And they thought, shit, there's no action, so we got to do something. What do we do? Oh, let's just take the end of the last episode and put it on this one. That will be fine. Then we've got pew-pew laser fights and the payoff for Bo-Katan going into the water. That actually does make more sense as the ending to the previous episode. So I'm quite sure they've just spliced these things together in post-production in a bit to make this one seem a little bit more action-packed than it actually was.
Are you saying that Stevie Wonder did the editing?
That is a reference from probably before my time, so I don't know.
For God's sake, Brian.
I know
you're
he's
lose
blind.
Half your audience. Fiona McPherson, and her name is Fiona, folks. We'll now refer to her as Princess Fiona.
Yes.
She is making it rain for Brown. So she says, I've had pap smears with better pacing. I don't know what that reference means, but it's probably hilarious in America. But also, Brown, before you get too excited, the $1 one was a misclick, so you owe Fiona $1 back.
I'll refund that, sorry.
Yeah, please do. And finally, Swappers, what were your rage levels for today's episode?
It was too boring for me to reach any kind of level of rage, to be honest with you. But I could have, you could, like Z says, you could edit 40 minutes out of the middle and have like a 20-minute episode and it'd be actually quite entertaining. But that whole middle section just derailed the whole thing. And you're just sitting there for ages going, when are they going to go back to the action? When are we going to go back to Mandalorian? And when are we going to see the other characters again? And it didn't. Every time it ended a scene, it just went straight back to the adventures of Dr. Pershing on Coruscant. And I just, oh, jeez. And, you know, it really was like Star Wars, the Job Seeker movie, wasn't it? Yeah, that's what it felt like.
Movie Cynic has dropped you a $4.99, Brown.
YT means something else, don't you? I found that out to my cost.
It can sometimes mean YouTube, and it can sometimes mean white people. So
Yes.
white content
Movie
creators.
Cynic, thank you, sir.
The middle third for this, just I found myself watching it and I wanted to like it because, again, it wasn't as obviously stupid as everything else was, but it's so weirdly paced. It takes such a long time. There's an awful lot of backstory that we've just had to skip over completely. We're now trying to flesh out two characters we saw for, a single scene in the previous season, so good luck if you even remember who they were. It's the only bit of the show so far I've looked at and thought, okay, this is trying to do something. It is trying to go somewhere. There will have to be a payoff for this later on, probably, although this is The Mandalorian, so they might just forget all about it, like they did with the whole IG-88 subplot. But at least it was doing something, but it was doing something for 40 minutes, and that something just translated, as bad dialogue, acting that would have shamed amateur dramatics people, and walking for a very long time. doing nothing at all.
I remember
So
walking.
it lost very quickly whatever goodwill I sort of brought into the scene, inexplicably.
Brownie, could you read out the rather insightful message on the screen?
Right. Bear with me, because I'm blind as a bat. And it just moved up. Skogli Jotun, the only part that staggeringly pissed me off out of boredom was when they jumped off the train. God, that was stupid.
Yes,
It
we've got
was.
some strong feelings about that one. But look, we've started we're on the first of 534 slides, so hang in there, folks.
These first few of those little kind of brief recaps from whenever it
Yes.
was.
The catch up from the
Yeah.
previous episode.
It wasn't the previous episode; it was the previous season. Hey, remember the
Oh.
woman that you saw
Oh,
for
it
a single
was.
scene
They've
with
given us
Moff Gideon?
context. Yes, you're right. They're giving us they're reminding us who the fuck these Nomarks are because they're about to give us a whole episode on them. You're absolutely right. So here we've got this chap. Look, I don't remember his name. It's something like Dr. Pencil Pusher. But can someone remind me of this
Yes,
guy's
it's
name?
Dr. Pen Pershing.
Pishing.
I wasn't far off. Okay, Dr. Pen Pershing. Can someone remind me? Because I've obviously erased it from my memory bank. What's the relevance of this guy? What part did he play previously? Why the fuck should I care?
I think it's going to be something to do with cloning. What's his face? Palps.
Oh,
I might be
Snoke
wrong.
clones.
Yeah, Snoke.
It's the origin of Snoke clones is Dr. Pen Pershing. I actually really struggled to remember who this guy was, even from the flashbacks. But he was the guy doing the experiments on the ship, wasn't he? And it was to do with was this the cloning the force sensitive abilities thing, or was that something else?
Nobody knows.
No.
just
She's so
not even the
naughty.
writers know.
Wasn't there? I'm sure there was a plot point with something to do with the blood of force. That's the whole thing. Baby Grogu's force sensitive blood, and this guy was experimenting with it. But that
Yes,
might
he
be a
is.
different guy.
Correct. You're correct. Yes. I remember
He
that.
was actually working on Grogu in the first season.
Just for the rest of this stream, I'm going to refer to this character as Papsmear. So thank you, Fiona. You've given me the name for this character. So we've got Papsmear on screen, and this is still part of the recap. And then we have she's introduced with some letters and numbers. Is it LESBO? What was her code name?
I prefer to call her Trans Admiral Yawn.
Yes, they them. Let's settle for that. We can't go wrong with that.
Crazy.
Is this the girl boss character from Ant-Man? Is this her?
You never saw Ant-Man.
No.
She looks really familiar.
No, it's not. Totally.
Are we sure?
no. Yeah, positive. The girl boss from Ant-Man. You mean not this one just gone by, the other one?
No,
second
the
one?
most recent one.
Oh, I don't know then.
I'm sure it's
Apparently,
her.
the correct name
Thank
for
you,
this
Craig.
character is Officer Gender Neutral. There we go.
Officer General. Yeah.
How close to the line can we get before we get banned, Brownie?
I think we're banned anyway.
We're banned anyway. Okay, so we're good.
Yeah.
We just let rip. That's good. Okay.
Well, she, he, them does look as gender neutral as possible.
Yes, very androgynous indeed.
Mm.
Hostman Socrates says, in the Star Wars universe, bounty hunters are considered untrustworthy because they'll take any contract
Easy for you to
from
say.
any government as long as it pays well. There you go.
It's in the name, bounty hunters.
Yeah.
They hunt for bounty.
The taste
Yeah.
of paradise.
Exactly.
Brownie, we're early doors on this one, but I'm going to go there. What would you give? What would you give this day then?
Out of 10,
Always out of 10.
I'd give a 1.
Really?
These jokes are not funny, man.
Really?
They are in my mind.
They're not funny.
He's a desperate man, Mega Geek. He'll go
No,
places you wouldn't dream
I'm a desperate they them.
God,
How
why?
dare you misgender me, sir?
Here we
of.
go.
Oh,
In fact, I
Lord.
just misgendered you by calling you sir.
Yes.
Bit of fun, bird. then.
Sheer double fucking standards. Moving on.
Bit of
Lucasfilm
fun.
logo, and we're about to witness one of the worst episodes ever produced under the moniker of Star Wars. So here we go. It's Star Wars, folks. We need reminding of that
Might as
sometimes.
well
I
know it.
remember Star Wars.
And we open in the what is it? The Bog of Eternal Stench. What's it called? Someone?
The living
Halifax.
waters of Mandalore.
Living Waters of Mandalore. That's it. Like the way she didn't even check if Mando was alive. She just dumped him on his back. He's not moving. He could be dead for all we know. But I think eventually he coughs and splutters. And but I guess the point is he's been redeemed. Z, talk us through this one. What do we have in this opening sequence?
Well, this here is Mando, who went into the mines of Mandalore like one would step on the steps as you go towards the deep end of a swim. Suddenly drop. So she saved him and accidentally bathed in the waters herself, a plot point that will be important later, as Death Watch has very, very lackadaisical criteria for joining their crew. So, yes, she saved him. Saved him.
He's been redeemed.
So
Tim Hannabom says the last stream was Barn Burner. Is Barn Burner good or bad? Is it a good thing or a bad thing?
Pass.
We don't know. Okay.
Don't know.
I'm going to say good at a guess.
We'll take it as a compliment. I mean, I guess no one wants the barn to burn down, but maybe it just means it's rock and roll. And Princess Fiona is still making it rain. She
Swappers,
says,
do you want to read that one? In
Yeah,
fact,
go
tell you
on,
what, no.
Swappers. Oh.
Lord, are you available to read a super chat, please?
This is going to get me cancelled, isn't it? Yes, from F. McPherson. Oh dear. Okay, I disavow.
Clip it,
Daiki McBuzzcut and evil scientist nerd douchebag.
Bravo.
Don't you dare clip it.
Yeah, clip that one,
What a
folks.
Dynamic duo. they
Clipped
are.
already, mate.
You can tell
Excellent.
he's an evil scientist, Dr. Pershing, because he's got round Nazi glasses in the universe where you can get your eyes replaced. So I don't know.
No, we'll get to the cloning organs thing because I was going to comment on that, but no, we'll get to that. Sticking with this scene, this is a bit. So he coughs eventually and wakes up, and she says, "Hey, did you see that huge fucking monster down there?" He says, "No." So I mean, I wasn't on this stream for the last episode, but I gather as soon as he stepped off the deep end, he immediately fell unconscious, and then dropped at an astonishing rate of knots down into the monster's lair where she finds him. And so Mando was just asleep for the entire thing.
Yes.
Something like that, yeah.
Shout out to Ponty Paul. He said he laughed so loud and so many times for the last episode, so we've got a lot to live up to, folks.
No
Also,
pressure.
we have got the official. I know everyone's messing around with the character's name being very offensive, but Swappers, can I get you to read out the actual character's name? It's on the screen there.
Not entirely sure about the accuracy of this, but Melvin Deeply in the chat says Butch Thespian.
It is Butch Thespian. I've
Yes.
checked IMDb. That is the official character name. So
With me.
there we go. Okay, so look, we're in the opening sequence. Mando's piss wet through from being in the Bog of Eternal Stench. Baby Yoda's there, and Botox Karen's there as well, and they've still got the torches on the helmets. And I don't know about anyone else. I was waiting for that giant monster to pop up or something to happen, and it never really did. But
That would have made it interesting, wouldn't it? But
well,
we knew.
God forbid we have
It's the
anything
key to
remotely
everything.
interesting.
It is. You can bet within one season, Bo Katana's going to be riding that mythosaur.
Oh, that's like one of Brown's wet dreams.
I'd
Easy.
pay to see that, yes.
Because look at me, I can ride the mythosaur. We can reunite all the clans. Yeah.
Oh, I'm confused, right? So I'm just jumping a bit. So when those things destroyed her temple, whatever it was, is she the queen or something of that place? So I never saw the last. So I don't understand. Right? Why hasn't she got minions to protect the place or
Because she
soldiers
lost
or-
so she lost the Darksaber to Mando, which
Right.
meant that all of her followers left her because in their religion she has to have the Darksaber for them to think it worth following her. So when she loses it, they all abandon her. Consequently, she spends 2 years sitting on that throne, staring into space, doing nothing, waiting for a main character to turn up and move the plot along. So that's why she's there.
Fuck.
It's the ancestral seat of her family, I think, who were, as is established later, very big and importantly ruled Mandalore, whilst also living on that moon. And that was, I guess, their home castle.
If she sat on that throne for 2 years, will it be a bit whiffy?
You get piles from sitting on that thing.
Yes, fucking concrete chair, yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Brownie, I know it's your birth. You've got a birthday this year.
I have, yes.
I was speaking to Fiona McPherson because I want to know what to get you. Do I get you some nice pint glasses? Do I get you some nice shot glasses? And Fiona knows you better than any of us. Can you read out what Fiona advised me to get you?
Fiona, channel favourites. Fiona McPherson in the chats. Yahtzee glasses. You see what I did there?
He navigated it well, folks.
You do need a new pair.
I do.
He does look like someone from Indiana Jones, though, doesn't he? Bad
So
guy from Indiana
where have
Jones.
I seen that actor from then? The guy
Battlestar
who asked
Galactica.
me. Battlestar Galactica.
No, okay. I don't know. Not
He
him.
looks very familiar.
Brown, I think you've officially made minimum wage.
I have. I'm going to read this. M. Duke, 84, for, I assume these are Canadian, $3. The doctor is Pershing, so Dr. PP.
Very good.
Yes, very good.
Hell?
You think with a name like that, Pen Pershing, he'd be an administrator?
Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, well, that was ill-timed.
Dad jokes. I love a dad joke. So we're still sat around the rivers of eternal life,
Babylon.
whatever it's called, and we get some idle chat. And this episode's not really got going yet, but it's about to in a moment. And he's picking Baby Yoda up.
Oh,
The light
yes.
reflecting on Baby Yoda's face. Someone remind me, how does this work? When is this goddamn thing a puppet, and when is it a CGI
puppet.
creature?
It's a
Ian
puppet
will know.
it's a puppet all the way through. They have people dressed in green suits to move him around, whether it be sticks or just moving around with their hand, and then they rub the guy out. Then they add the visual effects on its face, and when it wants to blink or it wants its nose to move and stuff like that. So it's physical. The people can see it on set.
You say
That's how they
green
do it.
suits. Could Kermit perform?
No, basically, grown men wear green suits and they move their
What?
hands around, and they move it with their hands, obviously, and then they rub the people out with green suits, put the background in. That's how they do it. That's why it looks like
Are you
it's
saying that a man has got his arm up Grogu's
all right in
ass?
some shots, yeah, in some shots,
Okay.
but when it needs to walk, it's literally a guy wearing a green suit from head to toe, moving it physically. That's how they do it. So there you go. Learn something new every day, right?
Wow. See, you don't get this on Doomcock's channel, folks, so I hope you appreciate this. Z, I know you like to cross-dress of a weekend, but Tim Hannabom has got some advice for you. Would you mind reading out his comment?
And Tim Hannabom in the chat says, never go full lesbian.
There you go, folks. If you take one thing away from tonight's stream, it's never go full lesbian. There we go.
No.
So we move on. We're still in these dark mines of Mandalore. I mean, Christ Brown, you could have took a few less screen caps than this.
Sorry.
I hope no one's got any plans for the next 9 hours. So there we go. We're getting into the good stuff now. I'm gonna call it. I like this ship design. Is anyone with me?
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
Yeah, I've liked it since Clone Wars, though. They're just reusing that, and there's no effort put into this whatsoever.
But I also like Bo-Katan's manoeuvring trick in it.
That was very good.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah, that was pretty
You know,
good.
cat engine, throttle back, spin round.
Brilliant.
Very good.
I mean, I know it's all bright lights, big city, but I liked the opening 10 minutes. I thought I had promise until the fucking roll the Mando credits, and then it went rapidly downhill. But I don't know, I had Rogue One vibes, this opening scene. I thought it was decent. But yes, good ship design. Can't wait for them to release it on Lego. I'm sure they're going to smash it to smithereens like they did with Razor Crest.
Well, it seems that this is their MO, isn't it, for these series? Is first of all, they give you something that's crap in the storyline, but then they give you a pew pew scene, don't
Pew,
they?
pew,
For
pew,
no
pew, pew,
reason
pew.
whatsoever, but because they can do it. I'm just saying, I don't even know why those TIE fighters were chasing them.
No,
I
that
really
was my
don't.
thought as well. And if it were a different show, which had, basically competent writing, you'd think, well, we'll get to that. We'll have an answer to that at some stage. It might not be in this episode, it might be in the next one. Maybe we'll find out who has such a huge force of Imperial starfighters in this vicinity and why they hadn't shown up before now. But this is the Mandalorian, so it could well be that we never find any of that out. It's just suddenly TIE interceptors, and that's there because we want flashbangs and whizzes, and that's it.
Yeah. That's what I think as well. I think that's what they do all the time. It's just like, oh, we've got to put a shoot up here. Let's just put that bit in there, And it's just, oh God, this show's so bad. It really is.
Well, Mando, what's the name of the ship that we're all admiring, and a lot of comments in the chat admiring it as well? Has it got a name? Anyone?
It does, and I can't remember the name of it.
Bo Karen's Starship, we'll call it.
Zee will probably know it.
Botox 4.
Botox 4. So anyway, they're all together on this, aren't they? And they're heading away. And Baby Yoda's in his little
Another
cradle.
question I need to ask is why do they always tell the truth, right? So the Mandalorian, he could have just said, he could have just got a bit of the water and not jumped into it and then gone back and said, I've been in the water, I've got proof, here's the water. Do you know what I mean? He didn't need to jump in there, did he? And then when that woman with the fur coat ask what's her name? Katie Sackhoff, did you take your helmet off? She goes, no. What? I mean, she doesn't want to be with them. Why didn't you just say, yes, I did, and lie? Do you know what I mean? I just don't understand the logic in this script at all. It just... And do we think it's funny that R5, whether it's called, falls down a lot? No, I don't think it's funny.
I was
The
wetting
first time
myself.
it's kind of... The first time it's sort of a slight twinge of the lips. The second time, no. Third time, I thought, did you forget that you'd already done this?
Yeah.
No. Also, everything up until this point in this show, my developing theory is that you could improve The Mandalorian Season 3 if you take all of the dialogue out of it, because it's either nonsensical or it doesn't attach to the scene, or it's just entirely unnecessary and redundant, just characters pointing out things that we can all see. This is one of them. So most of their dialogue on the ship has it's this weird yet detached narrative thing. Oh, look, there are TIE interceptors. Oh no, we are under attack. Oh no, we have been hit. Look at the scope. This is the scope. There is something on the scope. You don't need to tell us all of this.
Yeah.
And because, certainly in Pedro Pascal's case, he's not actually in the scene, the intonation's wrong, the voice acting is not good, so this scene looks nice, but every time, if you listen to it, it becomes irritating, and then if you pay too much attention to it, it also becomes irritating.
Yeah. I just, honestly...
Slight Twinge of the Lips, a great album by Depeche Mode, folks. Do check that one out.
I've
Best
heard of
test...
that band.
Best test Devor says...
Best of several.
Best test ever. Oh, that's how it works. Okay. She says, he, she, they says, Bo-Katango is naturally a better pilot than
course.
Mando. She does seem to flex her piloting skills in this episode, doesn't she? So,
Well, to be fair, this is her ship.
It is, yeah.
yeah,
And it's much better than this stupid small one that Mando sits in.
it is.
I
It
think.
so is.
Definitely.
So we just missed it in the last slide. I'll bring it back in. We have not TIE fighters, but TIE interceptors.
I remember TIE interceptors.
Remember those TIE interceptors?
And we know that they're bad because Mando tells us these TIE interceptors are much harder than TIE fighters. So, okay, I think we got that, but fine.
Oh, we do love a bit of...
So hold on. So when is
Patronizing.
this set, by the way? So I remember Luke turned up and that he was in his black gear. So is this set after Return of the Jedi?
I had to
Yeah.
check this out because I got completely lost. Apparently it's about 5 years after Return of the Jedi. Is that right?
Oh, I
Yes.
see.
Something like that. Yeah.
But there's a bit of a time skip between season 2 and season 3. So I think season 2 is 5 years after, and this
Oh,
is
okay.
a year or two after that, I think.
So we could be about 6 or 7 years, and about for those counting and for those caring, it makes it about 23 years before The Force Awakens. So that means we've got about 14 more scenes as a Mando before we see Rey. So we can all look forward to that one. MC, I think he's rather surprised. This is after Return of the Jedi. Yes, unbelievably it is. So, Bo-Katan's helmet, we touched on it in the last. Looks a bit like an owl.
It does.
It is.
Very much so.
Clan is the night owls.
Yeah.
It does look like an owl.
I like the turquoise, hence the turquoise of the stream.
Oh, is that where you got it from? Very nice. It's like a teal, Brian.
Yes, teal.
So this is this Mando on the guns? I think it's Mando
Yeah,
on the guns. Yeah, not quite Luke in the Falcon, but still he mans the guns and he's going to give it a go.
Also, the music was really nonplus in this scene. You'd think that the music would be more adventurous and and actually
disagree.
You like the music in this scene?
There was
Ian?
a hint of the the John Williams
A hint, but
hint.
That's what I
hint.
wanted to hear.
yeah, you wanted
It
to
was
hear
there.
something.
It was there.
No, it weren't.
Yeah,
I don't
it
even
were.
remember the music
I
in
didn't
this
hear it.
scene.
Yeah, I heard it.
Because
Oh,
they
you're the
actually
only
do
one.
use some of John Williams' score later on when they're walking through Coruscant, and the weird circus music is actually a part of the score from The Phantom Menace, but
Yeah.
played on these weird honky-tonky instruments. So they do use some of it, just not really
Yeah,
where
it
they
was there with
should.
that one.
I remember the guy with the glasses said, "It's a trap," to the guy who said, "It's a trap." I remember that, the ending. Remember that bit? So there you go.
Jim D giving a shout out to the world's greatest ever pilot, Ray, who obviously would have shot all of those down in
Ray.
one
Absolutely.
twitch
With
of the
eyes
trigger.
closed. With
At
eyes
the
closed.
same time.
Yes.
Exactly.
Would have been a magic bullet like the one that got JFK. Would have got all 5 of those.
On the soundtrack
So-
thing, I don't think it's this scene. I think it might be the one slightly later when Mando's back in his N1. I think Z said in the first episode it gets slightly annoying whenever Mando does something, and it does that weird little score, little sound effect thing, that do thing.
Yeah.
When he gets into the M1, it does it in something like 4 consecutive moments every time he does everything, like scene by scene by scene. So there's 4 of them within about a 30-second period. I think, yes, this does work sometimes when you use it sparingly. It does not work when you are literally using it for every action he takes. That
Yes.
becomes very annoying.
Oh, that's very noticeable. It was like Wonder Woman's introduction in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Every time she appears, it was and
The
they do the
weird
same
wailing music.
And it sticks out
Brown,
like it's all
apparently
fun.
you can do the sound effects for when Mando and Bo-Katan walked out of the mines.
Can I?
Apparently you can. I'm going to insist that you do, otherwise I'm going on strike.
Yeah, I don't. It's true though, because they didn't squelch, did they, when they walked?
Oh,
Perfect. Perfect.
he's gone for it.
I should have paid you, Brown. I'm telling you.
I'm here all week.
So they're heading for this planet. This is Bo-Katan's homeland or
It is, yeah.
residence, isn't it? Whatever the castle thing, and this is where Boba Fett's ship is, or Mandalorian ship is, and we're losing track already. And they're trying to make it that's the plan, isn't it? They had a plan to get to Mando's ship so he can get in the dogfight. Are you with
But
me,
why?
man, babies?
Why did
Yeah,
they
'cause-
attack?
Well, we don't know that. The dialogue in this scene is, well, we need to do that because the shields are taking too much damage. And then once everything's sorted and Mando's got his ship and they blow all of them up and he says, "Did you take any damage?" And she says, "Nah, it's just the shields." So, but that was the problem before. But now it's not a problem. Make your mind up. What are you doing? What are the stakes in this fight scene?
I'm thinking the interceptors were going there to destroy the castle or whatever it is, but it's just timing of them being there at the same time.
I don't know. Well, I mean, that is bad enough for it to be an actual plot point in The Mandalorian, yes. I don't think that's what will... I hope that's not what happens. My guess is that the reason they haven't popped up before now is that this will somehow find its way back to Moff Gideon. He'll still be there because there's the dialogue later about what happened to
Yeah,
him and no
agreed.
one really knows. And he's obviously still like horny for the Darksaber, so he's probably, I don't know, my guess is monitoring Mandalore, and so he spotted when they went down, and that's the reason that he acted now or sent his troops to act now. But I mean, it could be anything at this point, and yeah, you're probably right. It probably is just the convenience. They just happened to turn up at this precise moment and fancied blowing up a castle for no reason.
Well, I mean, Moff Gideon's got an axe to grind with Bo-Katan. She was there when he was and captured. So I often wondered why on earth would they just waste ordnance on some random castle? It would have to be deliberately targeted.
I mean, that would make sense. But then the question, I suppose, is that if she's been sitting in that castle for 2 years, and that is what he thinks, and that's why he's doing it, why didn't he do it during those 2 years? Or however long it was.
Good point. Yeah, maybe just like, just leave her there, sitting on that cold throne with those piles. That's the life I want for her, you miserable cow.
Great visuals again. Lovely
this
planet
was
visuals.
fantastic.
I do need to pause the stream here, Brown. I know this is unusual, but we've had a request in for a brief interlude for some ASMR. So I'm going to quickly go through the guests, and I just want a quick blast of ASMR from all the guests. So Brownie, we'll start with you if you will, please. There we go. And Z.
What does ASMR stand for?
Oh, Ian, it's autonomous sensory meridian response.
I'm touching your arm.
What?
Can you feel me touching you?
Mega Geek's completely lost.
I'm completely lost. I
Come
don't
on,
know what you're doing.
no one tell him in the chat. I don't want any guidance. Ian, I want your best ASMR. Go.
I have no idea what you're talking about. So how can I give you the best of anything?
Just go with your gut
You
feel.
want me to give you a noise? Is that what you want?
Go for
Okay. There you go. How's that one?
it. What?
I don't know what it means. What I'm supposed to do?
You thick twat.
Lord George, I've got a feeling you're going to be a natural at this. Give me your best ASMR.
I'm kind of with Ian in that I don't know exactly what constitutes ASMR.
Exactly.
So,
You don't call him a thick twat, do you, Ian? Because you love him. That's why your head's always up his arse,
okay.
right? Yeah.
Is it just where people
Let's
speak
not get
really
bogged-
closely to the microphone and whisper?
Let's
about
not
ASMR?
get bogged down with insults.
Brown, everyone's leaving. Just so you know, it's killed the stream. And no, look,
my golden rod.
Oh no!
This is better than the episode.
it is.
Yeah, it is.
We should just do 2 hours of this instead. Swappers, give us your best ASMR, please.
Oh, if I was going to get away with that.
God.
Hold on.
That's like a bag of crisps.
Oh.
It is a bag of crisps.
Just opening a king-sized pack of condoms.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I've got an erection.
Lord Chord,
Come on, let's get it
compliments from Princess Fiona. Well done.
Well, I mean, I'd hope you'd be changing it semi-frequently anyway, but
Oh God. Okay. Anyway, we hope you enjoyed that
let's
brief
do it.
interlude for ASMR. We will be returning to that again soon. But back to the dogfights because they are getting towards Botox Karen's castle. We've got all these fantastic TIE interceptors. Great visuals, isn't it? And it was a good
Especially
scene.
when they're going over the water and the water comes up as
Should have
well
just
as it's touching,
through these.
splashing and everything. It's really good effects. The effects are just really, really movie-like. You know what I mean?
I thought
So-
actually this looked better for on-planet
great.
spaceship fights. I thought this looked better than The Force Awakens. They moved more
Yeah.
realistically
Yeah.
than the X-Wings
Yeah,
did in that.
Oh, much
Yeah,
better.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
No
think,
complaints whatsoever in this sequence.
I think they get the idea that to move too fast,
Cameras.
the audience won't be able to actually figure out the geography of what's going on. So they're kind of, it's moving fast, but it's within our understanding, if you know what I mean. So,
It's almost like they're doing the old kind of, the camera, the mechanical cameras where they went to shoot the stationary model. They're not going like every angle and all that stuff.
yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, it does look like it.
Maybe somebody's learning that being able to fly up the arsehole of a spaceship necessarily isn't the best, but that's just me.
Even, I mean, Brownie, you would have noticed this from trying to grab the stills. When you try and grab the motion stills, the dogfight, I bet you found you couldn't get a real crystal clear image because, like you say, that it's all in motion.
Well, you can't
isn't it?
even say it, so the answer's no, I couldn't.
Well, look, I'm going to focus on something else, and I'm going to focus on the wonderful TIE fighter. I'm sure he's
look at
coming up
that.
in a moment. Did everyone enjoy the TIE fighter pilots?
Yes.
Bit of a member berry, but it was nice to see
And
him,
the
wasn't it?
sound as well of the TIE fighter inside is fantastic.
But they even have shots where Mandalorian's in his ship, and it looks like it's like they're literally lifting it from Top Gun Maverick, where you actually see somebody in the seat, and you know, it's like the camera's actually on the side of the thing. So it is really good visual effects. They've thought about it a lot. They have. So
How good is that, folks?
boom.
Boom. Yeah.
I have to. I downloaded on Steam the other day the old N64 Rogue Squadron game, and this entire segment of this episode actually does play out like an old arcade shooter. So you've got, obviously, it's the firefight stuff. The plot then progresses by looking at the scope, and then, we have to fly over here now because here's the new enemy class doing the next thing. Stop the TIE bombers before they blow up the ship. Go over there, shoot those people. Oh no, there's something else on the scope now. Let's go over here. It was fun to play, but it's not the first time this show has just progressed like a video game.
I was thinking exactly the same thing. Rogue Squadron GameCube.
Yeah, oh yeah, the GameCube one, that's fun.
What about Galaxian? Remember that game, Galaxian?
I have never heard of Galaxian.
Yeah, have you never heard? Oh, yes, probably way beyond your time. It was very rudimental. It was very. But anyway,
Space Invaders,
sorry.
basically.
Yeah, it's like Space Invaders, but I thought it was much better personally. Galaxian. But anyway, sorry. Carry on. This guy's doing a TED talk, isn't he? The guy with the glasses does a TED talk. I remember that in this episode. Is it a TED talk he was doing? I can't remember.
It's weird. He does a TED talk and then they just stick him in a warehouse filing things.
Yeah.
I can't understand what they were trying to. Well, we'll get there, but yeah, it's a very strange
Look
decision.
at that.
That's what I'm saying. This is all Top Gun stuff. If you saw the latest Top Gun film, they had cameras on the wings, on the side of the thing, and that's what they're trying to imitate. It's so obvious that's what they're trying to do.
Oh, beautiful. Franco in the chat has just put the chords for Lady Gaga's Bad Romance. It's D-A-G-A, D-A-G-A, D-A-G-A. So for those musicians out there, you can have that one on us, some free tablature. But this is where Mando jumps from the ship and he's trying to make it back to his own ship, isn't it? I mean, this is all action, isn't it? Come on, are we not loving this, man, babies? It's good, isn't it?
It's
Fantastic.
great. I mean, if only the writing team had listened to all the
Yeah.
the visual effects team, there
Look at that.
criticisms from previous seasons and improved their capabilities immensely, and everything looks so lovely, except the story.
Yeah, it is stupid, isn't it? It's ridiculous. They're not concentrating on the screenplay, but just giving us all loads of visuals. I wouldn't be surprised if they did all these visuals and they went, "Well, how can we fit this into the script?" You know, so I don't know. Very good.
Isn't that the Stan Lee method?
Yeah, well,
Just have all the pictures and then I'll put the writing in
Yeah.
later.
and James Bond as well. James Bond used to find locations and then create the story around the locations they found, didn't they?
You go in.
Yeah.
That was MC in the chat says Christopher Nolan cameras on the wings in Interstellar. Yeah, that's Interstellar. Yeah,
I think didn't the Battlestar Galactica remake have the occasional wing camera shot in the Vipers?
I think so. Yeah.
It's a good look. It's quite effective.
Now this is, I think this is where he's about to crash to his imminent death, and he just fires up his rockets to just kind of soften his landing, doesn't he? It is an impressive maneuver. Very Django Fetty, I thought. I don't know. Just,
Yeah, it reminded me of episode 2.
Yeah. So far so good in this episode. We're all very impressed. There it is. Look, he's so
Beautiful.
fucking epic. What a
Yeah.
loved the original figure as well. Although he's always a bit
money
top heavy.
shots.
Yeah, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It's just a pleasure to watch that.
But the TIE fighters are bigger The original Star Wars, it was a little smaller, wasn't it? Yeah,
You know
interiors.
what, guys? I was just thinking about this. That is, I'd probably say 50 years old, that image.
Mm.
You know, from the concept art of Ralph McQuarrie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
How fucking good does that look?
Amazing. Yeah.
Moving on.
Kirantos loves a TIE fighter.
Mm.
Very good. And Craig Shan loves a beautiful helmet.
I think, yeah. I know the Lord does.
Yes.
Moving on.
So cockpit
look at
shot.
that.
Sorry, gender neutral crotch area shot. And this is Botox Karen's castle about to get it, isn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the castle. Maybe we're not going to see a Lego set for that one.
No, it doesn't it blow up in a bit. So there's one fighter that's gone after Mando. So this is the bit where he has to get in the ship before the fighter gets him. He gets in the ship, flies off, blows up. The castle gets it after he's saved.
He
Botox
saves
Karen.
his ship. He saves his ship before it gets blown
Was
up.
was the castle a target, or was that an afterthought? What do we think?
I think it was the target.
Yeah,
So-
because you wouldn't have sent TIE bombers to attack
Yeah.
moving spaceships. So
Yeah.
they must have already been planning to do
Yeah,
that.
as I said, they were going to do it, but they were just coincidentally there at the time.
Yeah. I think you've nailed it, Brown.
Oh, thank you.
You can go now. Thank you.
Oh, look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Swappers, do you like the dual trigger? It's fantastic, isn't it?
And everything's so much more dirtier than it was in Book of Boba Fett. One of the things I hated about that series is everything looks so shiny and clean, but everything here is down and dirty like it used to be in Star Wars.
Nothing like a good dirty joystick.
Yeah. Especially when you've got it gripped firmly with both hands.
Oh, just stop it with these terrible yokes.
It's carry on time.
There's some discussion in the chat about why Botox Karen's castle didn't have any defensive placements and
Exactly.
fortifications. But Brownie, could you just read out the response to that, please?
Smilex in the chat at Fiona McPherson. Let's not get bogged down with military defense strategy.
There we go. That's put you in your box. So anyway, we've stared at these knobs for long enough. People are going to get aroused.
Well, we need
But
to pile through these, or we'll be here for 10 hours.
yes, this is the assault on Castle Karen, isn't it? And in fairness, they do a pretty good job of bombing the shit out of the castle, don't they?
They
This
do,
is
and
movie
also
quality, isn't it?
everything that you see, everything
Oh,
that you
look
see,
at
the
that.
mountains, the waters, and everything, and the castle. It's all done in computer. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. All of it.
Feast.
So it's not like they went and took a camera and went to Ireland and shot all the hills and stuff like that. All of that's all created by the computer. That's how far we've
Fantastic.
gotten so far. You know, when they did Empire Strikes Back, they literally had to go to wherever they went for the snow, and they literally had to fly a helicopter with a camera attached to it so they can shoot the mountains in the snow and everything. And then they put the visual effects in. But now you can create all that stuff in the computer. It's madness. You know, absolute craziness, as far as I'm concerned.
I think the chat are amusing themselves, aren't they?
If you think the guests are coming out with some degenerate talk, the
If
chat's
I
even
may,
worse.
here you go, Franco, a man of few words, but when he pipes up, people listen. Carry on up the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Well done, Franco. Very good.
Very good, Franco. And I think Stuart, with some sensible contributions, is this he's given us a location. Finns in Norway.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't know. As I said, I think it's all created in the computer because they can do that now. They can really do that now.
Before you move on, if the rest of this series is utter dog shit, which I think it is going to be, it's just worth it for that.
Just for
That's on
the
screen
TIE
now.
pilot.
How
yes.
great is that?
And they still
Yes.
can't shoot straight.
How great is that? It's just fantastic.
Beautiful.
Bang bang.
Oh well, that's as good as it gets.
On 1 hour.
Anyway, so Mando's in the action now, isn't he? He's in his tiny little fucking pod racer thing, whatever it is, and is Baby Yoda with them at this point, or is it
it's
Baby
the
Yoda's with
yeah,
Bo-Katan, right? Okay.
yeah. Gosh,
And
Because
he's
he
got no
jumped out the ship
droid.
to get his spaceship. Yeah.
and he was so scared he closed his little egg thing, didn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yes, he's used that one before. Are we all in agreement that Botox Karen's ship is way better than Mando's?
It looks better, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
What about Razor Quest if we throw that in the equation?
I do
Wazer,
like Razor Quest.
the Wazer
Yeah.
Crest.
The Wazer Quest. I love the Wazer Quest.
Wather.
I remember Laser Quest.
Yeah, so do I. I've been on that a couple of times.
At least
Boom.
Botox Karen's ship is complete.
They even get explosions really
Yeah,
well.
that's really
as
good.
It's
well.
quality. This is quality. We said that last week.
The visual effects are pretty amazing.
Yeah, for a TV series. Fantastic.
So the dogfight continues. We've still got some TIE interceptors in the game here, and I think we're getting towards Botox Karen's incredible maneuver. It's she uses the, I don't know, how would you describe it? Lord Chord, I feel, could do it some justice. Can you describe the maneuver, Lord?
Are we thinking of the same maneuver? The one where she flies very high and then drops. Is that the
That's the
one?
one. Yes, she kind of kicks out the right wing or something, and it, yeah.
Is it like a back scuttle movement or something?
It, actually, you know, it reminded me of where she flies really high and then drops. Isn't it something I've seen in one of the Batman movies? He kind of flies up in the
first one.
Batwing, and then
He goes to the moon and then
That's
it
the
drops
one.
to the moon and it drops.
yeah.
Fifth generation fighters can do that as well. It's like an afterburner movement.
That's the one.
I thought she was going to
Chance.
do Ian. I thought she was going to do a Blue Thunder and go all the way around and then come behind them. Do you remember at the end of
Then
Clouds
come
of
behind
Blue
them.
Thunder? Come behind them, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought she was going to do that, but she didn't. So.
It was a really nice 180 degrees, and when the ship dropped, she dropped too. And I like those little touches. It's like they've gone out of their way to go outside of the back projection environment.
Yeah.
And it just seems a lot more, I don't know, physical and real this season than it has from previous.
Yeah.
We don't often get to hear much about Mrs. Brown on these streams. Mr. Brown's better half, Mrs. Brown. Swappers, can you just read out some of the information we have on Mrs. Brown?
Stuart Mitchell in the chat says he has a wife, you know. She's called Incontinentia Buttocks.
Wow. Wow, she's been doxxed.
You're
Okay.
all a set of bastards.
I'll Google her later. So our dogfight continues. We're now flying through
still with the dogfight,
mountains.
Jesus.
It is
I
still a
remember Independence Day.
Oh, God, so do I. God, how many slides did you do for this, Ian? Because if you've done loads of slides with this stupid guy with the glasses,
no,
then
we're
we're
just
just going to fall asleep.
We're just taking so fucking long. That's the problem.
Smilex says he assumed he assumed it was like Columbo and
Columbo.
she doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Very good. Well done.
So our dogfight continues. It's
Come on, I'm
taking
gonna
us through
blast
the
through this.
mountains.
Come on, let's go.
Yes, we're blasting through. Okay, it's a lovely, some lovely
Beautiful.
scenery.
It looks. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Boom! Look at that, great capture. Cockpits, more
Independence Day.
explosions. Princess Fiona's maybe worried about getting a beauty sleep. We understand, Princess. Don't worry, we're going to rattle through some of this
that's
stuff. This is the
Interstellar.
best stuff,
We
though. We
actually
have to
hit
point
the
out.
opening. I don't think we've hit the opening credits yet, have we?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
but if it's
The
worth
original
dwelling
plan
on
was to
anything, it's
blast
this
through
first
these,
10
but we're
minutes.
just taking too long.
Brownie, no wonder it took you 4 hours to put these together. But look, this is definitely this opening. I mean, it's definitely the highlight of the show. And there we go. Mando taking out, I think, the final.
Oh, this is the maneuver.
Oh, this is the maneuver. Oh, there it is. Yes, there's the wing. And there's the R5 unit falling over.
Again.
That was nice. I like that maneuver.
Yeah.
Just
We
a
are.
little-
We are.
a nudge from Kyriantos.
Yeah, we are, mate. Yeah, the chat keep me in
If
line.
they sell that as a toy, I would definitely buy it. That ship.
Yeah,
So
it might
cool.
already be available. To be honest with you,
Well, I'll take a look.
It's a decent ship.
Get
Yeah.
me the Lego sets.
hurry the fuck up is what I was thinking for most of this show. To be,
Yeah.
to be fair.
This was the only part of the slides I enjoyed doing.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised, mate.
Brown, we're going downhill because we've been compared to both Friday Night Tights and now EFAP. I mean,
Oh,
Well, we've not started pissing on the desks yet. So
no one's got
bear
the
with us,
cock out
guys.
yet. So.
Bear with us.
that's in the next ASMR segment, I think.
Yeah, pissing live on Mr. Brown Alliance.
Why did that guy do that? Oh, well, maybe that's for another stream.
Oh, attention. I don't know. And there we go. There's poor Karen's castle. It's been blown to smithereens. What a
Literally.
shame.
And in case you didn't spot that, she says, they destroyed my home. Because we couldn't be relied upon to get that information ourselves. I'm still slightly confused about her backstory because, I mean, she goes on about how, her family ruled on Mandalore, I think. They were a ruling family on Mandalore. That was her home, which she lost. You would think if what they're trying to do is draw a parallel, that the parallel might have been drawn. This is the second time her home's been glassed by Imperial TIE bombers, but they didn't think to do that.
You think they'll have security? Do you know what I mean? Or defense in the castle.
I
Well, never mind.
I don't know about you, Lord. This moment here was when it went full Rogue Squadron for me.
God, how many slides, please? Seriously?
Yeah,
He got excited, didn't he, doing this? But, hey,
brilliant.
Dear. Pshum, and here comes the
Oh,
credits. Doom,
yeah.
And that's
after
it.
this scene.
Shall I get the next
Boom.
lot on, or should we just go home?
Right, now this is where the show gets really good, folks.
We've just got up to the opening credits. Yay!
Lando.
So, for those who've watched the episode, or maybe those who haven't, that was your pre-credit sequence, the opening scene. Bizarrely, now the whole show pivots somewhat, and we get we've basically seen all we're going to see of Mando. We are now taken to Coruscant, I believe, and
Looks great, doesn't it?
it does look rather good. Yes, I mean, again, the visuals are good. We start off with this chap walking up the red carpet, straightening his Imperial jacket, and or maybe
Why
not
are they wearing
Imperial.
Imperial jackets?
Not Imperial jackets.
It's not Imperial. It's post-Imperial. What are we
right.
calling it? New Republic. New Republic.
And he's
jacket.
doing the old TED talk for some reason, and nobody. He can do all this stuff with what is it, cloning and all that, and everybody ignores him. And
There's a lot of problems with this scene. So, so he's obviously giving us. I think the reason this scene exists is so the audience is reminded of who he is and what he did. That's only really why it's there. He's done all of this wonderful experimentation with cloning. He gives us the backstory about was it his father or his mother?
Mother.
One of them died. Yeah.
it's mother.
And so he's talking about how he hoped to use cloning to fix that problem, which has already been done because the Kamino ones could do everything with cloning. He invokes them. He mentions that the Kamino ones could do all of this stuff. If you can do everything the Kamino ones did, including delaying aging and all the rest of that, at one point did the knowledge to simply clone repaired organs drop out of the galactic consciousness? That doesn't really make a huge amount of sense. And then the thorny question with Star Wars since Attack of the Clones has always been, well, if you can do cloning, why isn't cloning in the original trilogy? And I think this episode just tries to dispense with that because it's illegal now. So that's it. But then having given him this TED Talk, because he's incredibly important, he has all this knowledge, and I think what they're trying to play on is sort of that Werner von Braun using the Nazi scientists to further our own cause thing. They then just stick him in a warehouse where he files forms. Yeah. But why would you give him a TED Talk to explain his cloning theories if you're then going to stick him in a warehouse to file forms? And if you're sticking him in a warehouse to file forms, why are you giving him a TED Talk to begin with? It doesn't make a huge amount of sense.
It's bit crap in it.
This particular scene reminds me of that joke where a Chinaman, a Nazi, and someone from Wakanda walks into a bar, and there's a Mon Calamari. But what I didn't get about this scene, why is this guy doing such a prestigious talk to thousands and
know.
thousands of people, and then in 5 minutes' time he's working a cubicle? I mean,
Yeah,
is
but
he
can-
important or not? I
Can
didn't
you
quite
see?
get it.
It's not thousands of people. It's just thousands of little dots because you don't actually see people in the background. They're
Oh.
just little dots. And if you go back to that slide, you can't really. It's just weird
No,
how
we'll
they
move
did
Christ,
it.
if you go back in the slides, we're
No, don't go back, please.
look, we missed a huge compliment from Hooligan S3. He said, MBA, which is short for Mr.
Yeah, I was
Brown's
looking
Alliance.
at that and I thought, what the
Yeah.
fucking hell's MBA? And then I realised
Mr.
about
Brown
folks,
Alliance,
me.
you. It's you.
It's us. It's us.
He says it's his top panel show weekly. What a compliment. Thank you, Hooligan. We're
Just
glad
wait
to
till
have
we
you.
start pissing on the desks. Then
I
it
thought he was
will-
talking about some basketball thing.
Yeah, I did
yeah,
as
so did
well.
I.
Wait till Z gets his goldenrod out,
Thank
then
you,
we'll
sir.
be really in
Appreciate
the...
we appreciate the sentiment. Thank
We
you.
do. We thank you. Good episode for Mon Calamari, if you're into that kind of thing.
Mm.
We had a
Yeah, it's
few of them.
weird, isn't it?
Are those
But yeah, we're
CGI?
introduced...
No, they're real masks.
Can't
Helped
fault
a
it
little
then.
bit by CGI.
Yeah, just
I thought
brilliant.
this was one of the only occasions where the effects in the show kind of were let down because
I'll agree.
it's so clearly he's just sitting in a still set on a still car. There's no wind blowing past him, even though they're going at like 40 miles an hour high up in the altitude of Coruscant. This is the most trajectory looking scene in the entire.
That's because it is.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Robert Meyer Bennett said something similar on an EFAP stream with regard to Jurassic Park. He was talking about some of these scenes in this prequel trilogy where cars are not, they're too uniform, they're all going in a straight line, none of them turning off, none of them are gaining in altitude or decreasing in altitude. It all looks very computer generated, and that's the sad thing about this scene is it wouldn't have taken much, a few nips and tweaks, and it would have been a lot more immersive.
Well, they basically the they don't do they do green screen anymore. That's a big, huge
It's
LED
volume. It's the
screen.
volume,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
So they do that now, and as I said, it corresponds with the camera move. So if they move left, the background corresponds with the camera, like he's really there. So
I think
that's what they do now.
The cheap way to improve this a lot is you just don't have the car open topped, because that's what causes, I think, a lot of the contrast between the perfect
Yeah.
stillness inside the car and the movement outside the car. But if the car is not open topped, if it's got a glass dome over it or whatever, you've kind of escaped that problem.
It looks fantastic with the Mando shot with the volume and the glass canopy. It does look really good. That's when it just looks outstanding. But yeah,
I was
you are
laughing
correct.
because the robot was looking at him. His head was completely turned around and talking to him. And he was like, "Can you look at the road, please?" He says to it at one point, doesn't he? But he's a droid and he's probably connected to the speeder thing. So he doesn't really need to look, does he? Let's face it. So I don't understand why. Anyway, maybe I got
Lots
it all
of
wrong.
NBA jokes in the chat. Whacking wardrobe, mutual blowjob action.
Yeah,
Honestly,
we'll take
that's what
it.
happens on these streams. You try and give someone a compliment, and then chat just takes the piss
they're a
out of
set
it.
of
I don't know why
bastards,
you
aren't
even
they?
bother. Stop being nice to us. Stop being mean.
NBA, my big anus. Or is it A9?
Keep them coming, chats. We know you won't let us down. So this chap takes his taxi ride away from the theatre. That theatre did remind me a little bit of the the Attack of the Clones theatre
Yeah, it
with
does.
Anakin and
Yeah.
Palps. It gave me vibes of that. But
And what's this scene about? He goes in and these people are sitting at a table and he has like a drink and it's like, well, why have this scene? You know, oh yeah, I used to like was it the yellow biscuits and all that rubbish. I'm like, well, what's this got to do with anything?
It's the weird thing. So what they're trying to do is they are trying to do this. It's actually quite dense world building, but because they haven't given themselves any time in which to do it. So what they're trying to do is to pretend or to have us convinced that you have all of these ex-Imperials who've been, maybe part of the Imperial Remnant, but the Republic has a rehabilitation program or a re-education program, and then they're being gradually reintegrated into galactic society. Essentially, is that this is what happens to Nazis after the fall of Nazi Germany. How do you make them human beings again? And they're put in their own little communities, and they're encouraged to form communities and be productive members of society. The ideas behind this stuff are not bad, but the way they deploy them in this. No, I didn't like the way they did it. The idea behind it was quite clever.
Idea.
Yeah, the idea was good, but the way they deploy it is not good. The way they deploy it, the pacing is awful, the dialogue is bad, the writing is terrible, and because it is quite a deep bit of world building they're trying to cram in, it's not something you can just throw onto the screen and expect everybody to pick up all of the references and the implications of that. It just doesn't work.
This kind of shoehorned Andor.
It's Andor, but without the intelligence. So it's meant to. Sorry,
Lord. I was just going to say they've watched Andor and good reactions. Oh, we'll do a bit of that.
It feels like that, doesn't it?
Brown,
we're getting a lot of
shoehorned
bored. That's why I was so bored watching it, because it reminded me so much of Andor. Good. Terrible.
Brown, we're getting lots of nominations for your new channel name. What about
I've been there with that one. Hemorrhoids, not good.
Why is his glasses so big?
Yeah. Franco. Umbrella Eggs. I thought Norfolk Enchants would have done that, but never mind.
Quick enough.
What are they drinking here, by the way? It's almost like I don't know.
Wallpaper paste.
Yeah, it does look like it, doesn't it?
The
white guy. The white guy. He didn't say much, did he?
Yeah.
He's the Brit from that other episode. Here you go. Fiona, Miss Brown Lies, that's me. They are doing the world building they should have done 2 seasons ago. That's
yes.
It could be late. I could be drunk, but this one tickled me. It's just Route 1, but we love it. So he sits at this table, and then we've got what was the official name we crowned her earlier on? Fiona came up with
gender
it.
fluid, I think.
Yes.
But why? I mean, the thing is, though, wouldn't it have been better if she was really good looking and he fell for her charms and stuff like that? She just looks like her face has been slapped. Let's face it.
Assassin.
What is the point of this scene?
and why did it go on so goddamn long?
Why?
I thought that was John Barrowman.
So did I.
Oh,
what is the point of this scene?
So
Seriously.
the nominal point is that
Just
obviously this is a guy who's being reintroduced to essentially civilized society, and he's having trouble, and these are the other people who've been through what he's been through, so it's establishing his kind of precarious relationship with the world in which he now lives. That's supposed to pay forward the scenes with the robot when he's being constantly asked if he's got any bad feelings or whatever. It's supposed to be conveying this gradual and quite difficult reintegration into society. I agree that it doesn't work, but that's the technical point of it. But
it doesn't amount to anything.
Well,
does it?
they do actually have to
end,
address as to what happened to everybody who was in the Empire.
Why?
After the Empire fell.
Why?
Because if you don't do this, and you can't explain his subsequent actions.
No, but he doesn't need to be in the story. You need to see Mandalorian.
Well,
None of this needs to be in this.
We don't know that he doesn't need to be in the story until the story's finished. So theoretically, you can get to episode 7 of this season, and all of this actually does amount to something that's incredibly important. However, that the problem is kind of similar to Andor's in the sense of pacing. It's also that it has a problem Andor doesn't have, which is that it doesn't actually have the depth and the intelligence underlying it. It's not a pointless scene. It's just a very badly deployed scene.
Who was that guy at the end on the table? The guy at the end on the who's that fella?
On the right.
Yeah, on the right. No, right.
Dave, his name is.
Oh shit! It's the woman, isn't it? Oh, I really did not. Seriously.
Oh, come on, Mega.
No,
we know
seriously.
what you're playing at.
I thought it was another guy. I honestly thought it was another guy.
MJ says it's the most diverse lunch table he's ever seen.
It is. It is.
And Princess Fiona says, pacing. I don't know what she's talking about. On Mandalorian.
The Lord is right. It is a nice idea. But this is in the wrong.
Really,
this is
no
in the
need
wrong,
for it.
It's a nice idea executed
it's in
badly.
the wrong. This is not. This is in the wrong show.
Here's a question. Why the fuck do we give a fucking flying fuck about this character? Anyone?
Exactly, and he's wearing Luke Skywalker's robe, isn't he, and clothes, but it's blue.
Just when you thought the pacing couldn't get any slower, he gets into bed, and we have another 10 minutes of him walking around in his pajamas. Fuck me,
really
this is ridiculous.
What are they trying to achieve here? Does anybody know?
Look, there is really no need for this, right? All you need to do is introduce the character. He wants to do experiments. This girl offers him a way to do that, and then he gets trapped by her. That's all. We need to see him in his pajamas or talk to those guys about pink biscuits or blue biscuits, wherever the biscuits are.
Why?
We don't need any of this stuff. It's ridiculous.
But then you agree that the scene has point and the problem is pacing. So
as I said, you may be right. It does have a point, but the thing is, though, they could have easily done it in 5 minutes.
Why
get to the action?
Why did she set him up?
Yeah, exactly.
What were the motives? That's the.
This is going to be one of the. I say this is an interesting question, not because I'm actually interested in the characters. It's interesting because I wonder to what extent they're going to fuck everything over. So the way to make this even more pointless and redundant, or at least offensively badly paced, is if the point of all of this and the betrayal at the end is to set her character up going forward, and he's not in the show again because he's just been mind fried. And they have left open that as a possibility, that this was all kind of a misdirection. So he's nominally the target of the plot, but actually this is a means of reintroducing her. And obviously the implication at the end is that there is a sort of an Imperial remnant cell within New Republic society, and she's still working for some evil person. But if it does turn out that they have basically killed the guy off at the end of this episode, then I will come back and redouble the criticism of this entire scene, because you don't need 40 minutes to do that. So we'll see. It would be a terribly bad decision if they did do that, which is why I think they probably will, but hopefully they won't.
Jim's got a solution to all the plot and pacing problems in this episode. There we go. Just shoot the fucker.
That'd work.
I mean, in every universe you've got jobs like this. It's crazy, absolutely, and it's really well lit scene actually. But is
this where he finds out that all the Imperial technology is getting decommissioned and destroyed?
No, this is where I can't remember the scene where he gets more of those little things to. I don't know what he does with them. But he got more at the end of it, didn't he?
This is the payoff to the relationship building with the other characters. So he finds, I think she leaves some of the biscuits they were talking about in the drawer, and it's supposed to be sort of building that establishment of trust. And then as these scenes go on, the idea is you show him getting more and more frustrated with his new life, and that gives him cause to then go and break the rules, which then of course pays off in the conclusion. That is what they are trying to do, but they do take about 25 minutes at least too long in which to do it.
And then we got like a scene where they have those glowy lollipops.
Oh,
and he tries to touch the mountain thing, and really funny, and all that.
Cute,
what is the point of this?
This one, I think you probably could cut this entire segment, because this is just trying to do what the previous scene was trying to do, which is to show that he gets to trust her more. I think this might be the point when she does start to suggest that he breaks the rules in a more specific way. But you have taken two scenes, and two long scenes, to do one thing, which is never a good idea if you're writing anything.
Brown, you're having those anal problems. Didn't you describe it once as having a mudslide on your back patio?
I did. I will say a mudslide is a world of hurt.
Yes, so sorry you're having those problems there, Atom Gray. We hope you recover from that. Just plenty of cream. So we're still on Coruscant. We're still really witnessing the development of these two rather pointless and tedious characters, and nice name for the main character there. It just goes on forever, doesn't it? I mean, it's nice to see Coruscant. I thought the other interesting moments, and I think it's coming up any second, just in the background there, we have the tip of the biggest mountain on Coruscant, which is
Geode, isn't it?
Way smaller than any of the buildings on Coruscant, and I'm just wondering how the actual physics of that works. I mean, how big are the foundations of these buildings? And
now I've done studies on this for my novel, right? So Coruscant is like, originally it was an ordinary planet, and they built cities on top of cities on top of cities. So the layers of construction have gone on over like centuries and centuries, and the planet's grown bigger because of it. and there are mountains on the planet's surface that still like poke up out of the top of the surface of the planet, right? Because it's right at the peak of the mountain. So they're a novelty, and they show them off like this. Now, they said in the show that this mountain, I sound like a right fucking nerd right now. They said in the show that this was the highest peak on Coruscant, which is bollocks, right? That's not true at all, because the highest peak actually resides underneath the main tower of the Jedi Temple, and it's empowered with Force energy. That's the highest peak. So they're talking bollocks. Although we know this is Disney canon, so who gives a fuck anymore?
Stuart making a good point. The Rock has probably got the more character than anyone else in this scene. I think he's absolutely right. Maybe it's Giodi making an appearance.
Swappers.
Yeah.
Swappers. Well done, mate.
Oh, a bit of recognition for Swappers. There we go.
Oh, a bit of geek cred. Thanks.
No one else gets sound effects. I'm jealous. So here we go. She sets him up. She asks him to touch the Rock, and and he gets pranked. What is this fucking lollipop thing? The licking, and it doesn't seem to be making any progress with. It is all.
Don't know. Don't care.
Very strange.
Who's got the microwave on?
Someone
Or
else.
is it a Star Wars sound effect?
That looks like a little robot from that film with the UFOs that lived in the old people's house. Can't remember what it was called.
Batteries not included.
Not included.
Wow,
yeah,
yes,
does look a
yeah.
bit like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the idea of what they're trying to do here is actually probably more to do with her than it is to do with him. It's the payoff is supposed to be when you realise right at the end that she's a cold, evil, calculating bitch. The contrast between her depiction there and the depiction at the end is heightened because you've seen her being, seemingly at least, sort of cutesy and friendly and effervescent and a socialite. It's an attempt at character writing from a show which doesn't really do that very well.
But it's boring. That's the crime.
But if this doctor isn't allowed to share his cloning technology, then surely he's not.
And she baited him as well.
Value.
Why does she him?
Why does she want to kill him? Is it because he was a turncoat?
I don't know, but she baited him. She actually, encouraged him to break the law, didn't she? So she's ugly as well. Put it that way. So there you go. So
Brown, can you just read Fiona's well-worded message?
It's the only thing close to penis shape that she'll ever put in her mouth.
There we go, folks.
seriously,
That's
we're
seriously.
going to the depths here of this kind of humour.
this is where we've got to. But look, we have got to what I thought was one of the better scenes. I know, obviously, that's not paying much of a compliment, but this little interview with the I don't know what you call it, counselor droid. I don't know, but obviously, I did the parody of it in the opening segment there, but it asked the questions, are you experiencing any undue stress? Have you experienced any anger or resentments? What do we make of this scene?
It's kind of, I think it's referencing, is it Blade Runner 2049, when essentially that it's the test of the psychological fitness of the interviewee being asked repeatedly the same banal questions, and then the response is being gauged. It's not as clever as that, because the droid simply listens to his actual answers, and so it's easy to misdirect. But what I think, what they're trying to do is to portray, as they did in 2049, his gradual psychological change as he takes longer and longer to answer the questions and becomes more frustrated and finally hesitates to the point, and that's the point you're supposed to infer he's made the decision he's now going to break the law because he can't answer these questions truthfully anymore. So again, it's a good idea, actually, this one.
Well, I mean, I'm glad you saw all that depth into that scene, but I think I almost fell asleep in this scene. I completely think it's absolute nonsense.
I agree with the Lord.
Of course you do. But
No.
Of course you do, mate.
There, whatever. But this is... It is clever.
It's not clever. It's boring. Come on.
May
what
I
is
finish
wrong
my
with you
sentence?
guys?
It's not often I say.
Go on in.
I'm enjoying this.
It's clever. I like the idea. Very, very poorly paced. But it's not from the. It's on the wrong fucking show.
Yeah, it is.
Simple.
It's
that
on the wrong
paint
show.
dry
It's not just the pacing; it's also the placing of it within the show. So
There is that.
If you're going to take time out to do these scenes, Blade Runner did take time away from those scenes to actually keep you entertained by doing other things. So he might be going away. You will have an action sequence. As a consequence of the action sequence, he re-enters that scene. You've got much more of a narrative variety there. You've got action. Action is punctuated by more sort of contemplative and thoughtful and slower paced scenes, which will then be punctuated by action shots again. It's just, there's much more variety in Blade Runner 2049. Whereas this is, it begins with this, high octane space fight, which gets the audience up and ready for action, and then it just goes into this, and there's no variation in the pacing at all. If you're going to use the scene we just saw with the robot, and you've placed it immediately after an extended walking sequence through a Coruscant circus where very little actually happens, you are going to be testing the patience of the audience. It's not that there's a juxtaposition or a necessary contradiction between things that are boring and things that are clever, but if you're going to do clever things, you also need to write them in a way that's engaging, which is the biggest fault with this part of the episode.
Do you know, so the last episode, how long was the last episode?
Shorter than this, wasn't it?
Yeah, this one was
like 35, 40
This
minutes,
one was 56.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Why
why
was it
self-contained? This
too
bit-
long?
Yeah, why wasn't
That's
this
why-
bit self-contained?
Because that's why I think they took the beginning of this episode and the last bit of this episode out of the previous episode. So episode 2 is shorter because they've actually just taken content from it. This one is longer because they stuck that content on this episode to bookend it with something that they thought would pad it out with more action and keep people more entertained. I actually think it did the episode much more damage than it did good.
Yeah, agreed.
Probably, if you hadn't started out with the high octane space battle, this wouldn't have seemed quite as out of place as it did. It would still have seemed out of place, but not as badly as it did.
Someone made a great point earlier that this whole post-credit episode as such is longer than any other Mandalorian episode. I mean, we got 10 minutes of Mando at the start, but we got 40 minutes of this fucking
This
waster.
should have just been a self-contained episode.
So it didn't really need to be that long. They could have cut that table scene out. They could have just got to the point where she convinces him to break the law, and then, he says, "It's a trap" to the trap fella. And then the end. Why was it so long? Why was it so long? That's the question. And why was it so boring? Anyway.
Guagnar has the answer. It should have been an episode in the Book of Boba Fett.
Agreed.
There we go.
Yeah.
Maybe it was. And they took it out and put it in this.
Well, they stole 3 episodes.
Unbelievably, we're back in front of this this robot again.
God
it's like
almighty.
deja vu. And we're back doing the same interview, the same questions. But I think this is the scene where we see him starting to have, thoughts about maybe turning to the dark side as such. I don't know.
Yeah, he's
but
talking about doing his experiments, isn't
Yes.
he? Yeah.
What do we think of this droid design? It's I don't know, a bit
Too
quirky.
clinical.
Yeah.
Isn't it
I knew you'd have a thought,
entrapment?
Zee.
Isn't it entrapment? That
Yeah.
she basically it's just honestly this
What if these are all
Sucks.
involved?
sucks, man. This episode sucks.
The
Tim-
only way
Tim-
I can see this plot going in my head at the moment is she wants him to have his mind erased because of what he knows.
Yes.
Tim just missed the start there, and he's just asked the question: is Mando in this episode?
No.
No, we're
Right.
not doing Mando tonight, Tim. We're doing something else. Andy has really spent a lot of time really thinking about his review of this episode. Brownie, I'm going to get you to read it out. Take a big breath,
Well, okay.
moisten your lips. Here you go.
Andy Mouse, 123, wingman of the channel.
It was
Shite.
There you go, folks.
Shite.
It is though. It is. It's absolute.
Quick question: who's the top?
Who's the top?
She is.
One on the left.
Oh, good God! What is the relationship? Were they teasing any sort of romance or?
What with that thing? You're joking.
Bromance.
Oh no!
I mean, bromance, right?
Come on.
In universe, she might have been teasing that as a part.
Is it a
of
she
her
or a
plan
he?
to get her to let his guard down.
They.
Z.
That's
No,
some mighty
I-
fine pectoral muscles right
I'm
there.
so tired of seeing women that aren't attractive on screen
That
now.
aren't
I
women.
really am. Is it a woman? Sorry, am I made a
It's
mistake here?
I think it's Ruby Rose, isn't it?
I'm just tired of it. I'm
I,
just tired of
do
it.
you know, I went on the Internet Movie Database to see who it was for this episode.
Yeah.
Who is it?
Not listed.
Well, not
I
listed.
couldn't be bothered
It is
to go back
it's
to
the same. It is the same actress as in Ant-Man Quantumania. She's an MMA fighter by background. I can't remember her name.
Oh, okay.
All right, so she'll
something
kick
O,
fuck out
something
of
or
us then, yeah?
Yes.
Oh,
You'll be able to kick the crap out of me.
I will
Ram,
call
you've
her
You've
Sir
seen,
from
seen
now on.
Strange New Worlds, haven't you?
I've seen 3 episodes of it.
Yes.
Is this the Helms they them from Strange New Worlds?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
I thought it was.
You-
Same haircut though.
Well, it's the kind of buzz cut, isn't it? The lesbo cut.
Lesbo cut. So this is where he decides to go on the mission to go and retrieve the technology he needs to pursue his
Yeah,
own.
they're like a portable
Yeah.
lab kit.
That's it, the lab kit. And then again, a rather tedious, drawn-out scene of will they, won't they, and we obviously know they will. But it just felt clumsy. I mean, it was literally clumsy. He was bouncing into everything he passed. But I don't know. Does anyone else think this was a
No,
bit
quickly go
pointless?
back. Droids.
Droids. Z? Does that do it
Yes.
for you?
No.
No.
No, the droids in this, from the interviewer droid to the background droids, they just seem so generic. They
Yeah,
didn't
I
really
mean,
have a Star Wars feel to them.
Edge of Time says it. He said of arseless chaps, but not arseless droids. And there we go.
I thought the location looked fantastic. I'd love to know where it was.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about the visuals, but less
It's
so
not
the story.
Docklands in London,
Now,
is it?
can I just say that this guy stuck out like a fucking sore thumb when I saw this scene. He was just like standing there, gormless, like he's got a relation on the
Gormless.
production staff and says, "Can I be in this week's Mando?" And they went, "Yeah, put on this uniform and stand there." And that's
Put on
exactly
these
what he
white
did.
marigolds.
Yeah, looked completely out of place in that scene.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, all the Disney fans are just sat there thinking, "Where the fuck's Baby Yoda? What am I watching?"
Yeah.
Such as sophisticated technology, but all she needs to do is put a foot in the gate and it opens up again. It's rather convenient. And on they get onto the train. Now, look,
Yes.
maybe I was half asleep, but maybe I was losing the will to live. But I didn't quite get the interaction with this big, hefty character. What was going on here? Anyone?
No,
No,
No.
no one knows. No one
No.
cares.
Just said like a word. One word.
They seem to. I think it was played as a gag. I mean,
Yeah.
Lesbo acknowledges him or has some kind of banter, and then he tries the same later on. And
Did
it
he have like a
falls flat in
Walkman
its
on
arse.
his head?
Oh, did he say? Was this the point where he said "Happy Bendu Day,"
Yeah.
which is the last day of the galactic week?
Oh,
Oh. Get you.
MJ. I recommend some medical attention if that really
Yeah.
does look like your left sack. They ideally should look the same. So again, rather protracted, drawn-out scene.
Oh,
Just
bless there is.
always interested in kind of ship design, transport design. What's everyone's thought on this being a train? Does it really work when it's not on a track?
I think it does. I mean, it's not like the train in Boba Fett, the sound train, the gun train that just randomly appears and massacres Tuskens, because the public transport would still exist on Coruscant. Not everyone can have their own private flying car. I think it works in this scene.
Felt a little bit like
Where are
I
the
don't know.
reindeers?
Santa and his exactly Brownie. We're on the same.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it did feel a bit strange, but
It's more of a bendy bus than it is a train, I think.
yeah, it's a lot of benders in this particular episode.
Oh.
It's okay, Brian. I was on mute. No one heard it. So we carry on. More lingering looks. I mean, I don't know where this is going.
Well,
A gay Nazi and an MMA lesbian. I don't know what.
No,
no hope for this.
She is, again, the point is the payoff at the end is supposed to be that she has managed to break through his social awkwardness. He's placing his trust in her visually and visibly more so as the train ride goes on. She's helping him open up. His trust in her will be repaid by her betrayal at the end. So it's supposed to be character writing.
So we get to a moment of tension, don't we? Very shortly when we have some more droids. Oh,
this is when it becomes dumb, as in dumber. But
yeah, are these the same two that we saw in the station, or are these are different two, or
different ones? These are the
different ones. Okay.
British Rail
more badly designed droids.
Yeah,
and the solution to the ticket situation, which they must have foreseen, was just to basically go through the carriages. Now, bit of a tip for all you kids in the chat: if you're ever in this situation, just go to the loo, lock yourself in, you'll be fine. Yep. But they choose to just go carriage to carriage, don't they, and try until they run out of carriage, essentially.
And which is a little bit odd. I mean, you'd think it's one thing on a train being able to go between carriages, but you're not actually sort of jumping across a gap of 30,000 feet out of the ground.
Yes.
It's a bit weird that you can even do this on this train. Also, why is there why are the two ticket inspectors on the train? Why are they only two? Why are they both starting from the same side? If they'd had one at the other side, you would have prevented anyone from doing what they're doing.
Yeah. Don't know.
Let's not get bogged down in the.
He's pulled that one
train
out.
Tickets.
Get the T-shirt, Brownie. I can't wait. I have to have it in triple XL just to get over my round fucking head, but looking forward to that.
Oh, sorry.
No, keep it going.
I'll
keep it flowing.
keep pressing. You
another
do
grumpy
the
alien.
Yes.
That one looks like MJ's right ball sack. Is this where they get into like a first class carriage? Is it, or just I don't know? They start to get some sneering looks. Yeah.
I honestly did expect them to try and find a toilet. But they didn't, sadly. I guess they don't have toilets in Star Wars.
Been doxed again, mate. Yes, you'll often find me in the barricaded into the cubicle of a northwestern train. But anyway, the robots...
I did like this, how the platform kind of came together for the robot. Yeah. That was quite good.
Yeah. I mean... Yeah, edit the fuck out of this episode, but certain things kind of worked. So we're moving towards the rather ridiculous scene of them jumping off the train, aren't they? And I know we've all got some thoughts on this one. Firstly, was that in the plan? Secondly, how the fuck was that ever going to work when you're travelling about 500 miles an hour?
High club scene.
Quite easily, because she went there a couple of days ago just to get him some biscuits. So it's a relatively easy procedure.
Oh, yeah. Very good.
Didn't break a single biscuit, yeah.
Is this the bit where he points out to us that they have in fact reached the end of the... It is, isn't it? Yeah, they've just come through the door. It's the end of the train. No shit.
I thought, what are their options now? Are they going to jump on top of the train? Is that what they're going to do?
I think they've got to find some handy crash mats.
Carriage C, Smilex, Rush Hour, I'll see you there. What was the plan to get back? Was there one? I mean,
it's
I thought that as well. Yeah, I was thinking they got all the way there and went through all of this. What's the return journey plan? What are they going to do? Especially when he's carrying a load of
and then jump off.
Yeah. Especially when he's carrying a load of stolen equipment. How are they going to get back in?
Carrying a fucking suitcase of Imperial tech. But
the only explanation for the lack of a return plan is that everyone was in on the fact that this was a conspiracy. I'm still really confused as to what the authorities thought she was doing. So, because if the authorities thought that she had essentially committed entrapment by breaking this guy out of his conditioning and taking him to do something illegal, then they've basically gone along with the idea that it's acceptable to just fuck up Imperial rehabilitated people by deliberately inciting them to break the law. But if they didn't know that, what did they think of her being there to begin with? But that's the only thing that would have worked to explain the lack of a return journey, is that everyone was in on the fact that this was a one-way trip. But it doesn't make a huge amount of sense.
Brown, quick question. How many testicles have you got these days? The answer's on the screen, if you would.
Smilex in the chat. One for each gender. Yes, I've
you
got
go.
69 testicles.
Thought so.
Man's joke.
We know why you went with that number. So they get into
Someone who's done
a
more recent Coruscant research than me might be able to tell me, but I thought there were specific sort of planets and shipyards where they decommissioned old spaceships, and I didn't think Coruscant was one of them. Why are they decommissioning Star? Well, why are they decommissioning Star Destroyers anyway? Because they're incredibly powerful and much better than anything the Rebels had. Essentially, the Empire's gone, and New Republic is a change in government. It's not something that's come in and just swept away every need for all of the old starships. If anything, they'd be using Star Destroyers, not decommissioning them. But if you are going to decommission them, why are you doing it on Coruscant?
You see, and this is the whole problem with the script. The script doesn't make any sense, even though the best intentions behind it, none of it makes it, and it's slow and boring. You know, like we can get away with murder if you present it in an entertaining way and you don't get bored. Like, for instance, Spider-Man No Way Home has so many plot holes, it's ridiculous, but it was really entertaining. This is just boring as fuck, basically. That's what it is. So, and it's not interesting in an entertaining way at all. It's just,
I just want to check with everyone. Barbara's just joined. Are we all okay to just start from the first slide again?
Yeah, I think we'll go back to the beginning.
That's good. We're all good for that. Okay. We've got you, Bobs. So basically, we now go into a sequence where we are exploring a wreck of a Imperial.
Well, it's not a wreck, is
destroyer.
it? It's just a
Well,
ship
just
that's getting decommissioned
slowly
for some reason.
rotting.
For some reason.
I mean, it was interesting to see some of the. Oh no, or was it interesting?
What-
I don't know.
yeah,
I'm just
what
trying
you
to convince
could
myself.
see.
What do we make of these little creatures with
Rats.
the glowing eyes? Yeah, they. No takers.
No,
nope.
shit.
We'll move on.
Oh no!
I think Fallen Order references some
no.
weird little
No.
rat things when they're decommissioning ships.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a reference to that, but
This is the moment where she says
This is
to
the
him
way.
that she saw him many times
They.
on. Sorry,
This is the way.
yeah, on the Gideon ship, Moff Gideon,
Oh,
and this
that's
is where
right.
This is where they finally officially introduce
They
themselves.
do.
And it's like, oh, they're going
Yes.
to get on.
Yes. They
And her
they
name's
duped us.
Aaliyah Kane, communications officer.
Nice.
There we go.
So they're
Good job. Someone was
consummating their
paying
working
attention.
relationship.
Very good. Well, here you go, folks. Franco keeping me in line. At Mr. Brown Lines. That's me. Don't you fucking dare. Let's start again, by the way.
And MJ, the she is always right.
Ooh.
Basically, a
Savage.
moral for all modern writing. There we go. So they find their way to the what would you call it? The control
lab.
center, the lab.
It's the lab,
Yeah,
isn't it?
the lab,
the
isn't it?
research
Yeah.
lab, yeah.
Yeah.
also Star Destroyers are absolutely massive, and they get in and out of the thing in
Yeah.
about 5 seconds each way.
Does
So
feel
either the
small.
lab is really conveniently located right by the front door, or they've just kind of forgotten how big the ship is.
Where are the horses kept?
No,
do
that's
know?
who knows.
Maybe that's why it's being decommissioned. It had a horse infestation.
Moving on.
Seriously.
Joshua's probably made the best decision of his life. He can only briefly stop by for this one.
Look at you.
Oh, you're such a lightweight, Joshua. If we've got to endure this, you should have to too. So we're in the lab. He's getting his gear. He's, it's all looking good. They're getting on. He's meta. He's probably thinking he's on a promise later
Oh,
on.
yes.
It couldn't be going better for our Nazi friend here. He gets the equipment he needs.
We know all you need to restart a cloning lab can fit in a tiny box. Apparently, that's all you need to do it.
With no wheels. Of all that technology, they had no wheels for
It
it.
just
like one of
fits in a
those,
carry-on bag.
Yeah, one of those refrigerated plastic boxes you get down the supermarket.
Yeah.
With obviously there's a couple of lights to make it look good. You know?
Has got an idea for a new Disney show.
In the chat, she will star in her, well, we don't know, own show as the what?
Thundergroin.
Thunderbergorian. Never take the helmet off, love. Very good. Saw what you did there. It's very good.
Joshua's not seen the episode yet, but he's anticipating a shit show. So yes, unfortunately, it's never going to reach the glory of The Last Jedi. But then what would, Joshua? What would? So they get their goods, and I know it's probably a device used in filmmaking, but they've got these torches. It doesn't really seem like they need them because there's some low level lighting, and
No, they don't need them.
no,
It's just
it's stupid.
really.
It's just stupid, isn't it?
It's just
And
really silly.
And the second they're discovered, they continue to run about, waving the torches about so they can be clearly identified rather than ditching the damn torch.
But also, why is she running?
I like the bit.
Why is she running
where,
with him? Why didn't she just let them come towards them and show who she was?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Plot.
Also, I like the bit where she raises her finger to her lips and says, shush, don't tell anyone. And then they just run off down a straight corridor, making all the noise they like.
Ego, Novkin Chance, Lens Flares. Did Abrams direct this?
And MJ thinks they should have used their popsicles to explore. That would have been a nice callback, wouldn't it?
I tell you what, though, even though it was boring, the visual effects when they're walking towards it and looking at it, it's just really great, isn't it? The effects.
Look at that.
I know.
Someone will do some kind of fan edit of all this brilliant effects and scenes and come up with something half decent. And unfortunately, this is where he's captured, isn't it? We get the police helicopter. We've got our friend there. There's your man Z.
What are they wearing?
White gloves.
White gloves.
Blue jumpsuits.
Yeah.
But this is the moment when you can tell whether all of the build-up was justified, because you're supposed to have two reactions in this quite short scene. Your first reaction is supposed to be, gasp, they've been discovered. Then your second reaction is supposed to be, gasp, she's betrayed him. If you don't gasp in either of those moments, then the previous 30 minutes which was building up to this was done badly wrong. I don't imagine anyone watched this and suddenly thought, oh my goodness, I'm invested in these characters. Because no one's invested in these characters, because by this point everyone is falling asleep.
I was thinking, thank fuck, it's nearly finished.
I mean, it did seem quite obvious because they don't have any chemistry together.
It's interesting because he's wearing Deckard's coat, isn't he? The guy with the glasses.
Yes.
Good shout.
I
It is
did
very,
like the coat. I would have had that. Thank you, Ms. Martin Muse's super sticker for $1. Thank you.
Good girl, Teresa.
She is.
Princess Fiona says the worst piece of shit cosplay I've ever seen in my life.
It's a bit, isn't it?
It's funny when everything else is so goddamn good about the visual. Why the fuck
great
did they put the guy in the blue jumpsuit?
He's definitely wearing Deckard's coat.
Yeah.
That's definitely Deckard's coat. Looks like an old boombox, doesn't it?
I mean, I know it's a bit Route One. But it's some of the setting with the spotlight and everything was quite nice about that scene. And then we get to our old friend, the Mole Calamari.
It's a drop.
Oh God, it's coming, folks. So yes, the Mole Calamari's explained that he's just going to go for a very subtle realignment procedure. I forget the way he phrased it exactly, but he's playing it down, obviously. Meanwhile, our Nazi hero there is kind of concerned that it's a brain wipe device.
Mind flare.
That's it, mind flare. Thank you, Z.
But it's not. It furnishes you with pictures and rainbows and fluffy kittens. It doesn't rape your mind.
But then she puts the power up, doesn't she? on the thing. So
Yeah, it's sensual sex, and then it gets too rough and powerful, and then it becomes mind flaying. I don't know what her plan is, though. So she asks to be left alone because he's still her friend. So they leave her alone. When they come back to find that his mind has been exploded by the machine because somebody turned it up, there's literally one suspect, and it's her.
I know.
So what's she planning? What's her get out here?
That's what I'm saying. The people that wrote this, they must be look. This is an inexperienced writer that's written this. It really is.
AI wrote this.
It feels like.
No, I looked it up. It's Jon Favreau and one of the guys from, drumroll, The Book of Boba Fett.
Oh God, that explains why it's bad.
Probably
Here you
explains
go,
a lot,
F.
yes.
Person in the chats. For our anniversary, I bought my husband a $2,000 Blade Runner pistol replica from Rick Ross.
Cool.
Wow. It's a hell of a gift.
Wow.
Brownie, quick one before we get into this fantastic scene. You know, you went on that coke-fueled weekend in York a little while back, and you brought those two prostitutes back to the room with you. What did they say when you produced your whiskey bottle?
They said, MJuke84 in the chat, we're just going to shove this up your arse. Is that fine? And the answer was, yes.
There we go, folks. Confirmation on that one. So, look, I don't know how to.
Let's just blast through these. You do the
I don't know
commentary.
what to say other than they do the. It's a trap gag, don't they? Effectively,
Yeah.
he's lying on the table and he says, "No, you don't understand. I was, duped into this. It was a trap." And I don't know about anyone else, but my fucking heart sunk when they played that for laughs. I don't know. Any other thoughts on the it's a trap gag, the mol calamari? I mean, are they taking the piss at this point? Did anyone find it humorous? I don't know.
Didn't find it humorous.
Well, at least they didn't just randomly explode the wall and have him fly out and never reappear in the script again, Ruin. So
How dare you?
there is that.
I know. So who's that guy? It's the new guy.
Stuart says even a team of monkeys throwing shit at the wall.
Yeah.
Wrote this. Oh no!
So he's getting his brain stimulus at a very low setting just to.
Yeah, they're just going to mildly tinker with his brain, but General
She wants to
Lesbo there
stay.
cranks up the dial to 11. And I expected more of a reaction. I expected him to start jerking and foaming at the mouth, but he just seemed slightly aroused. I don't know.
So she's going for the spinal tap now. To up to 11.
Those controls, they look like something out of the 70s, don't they? I guess that's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, there you
I was
go.
expecting the wow, 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 wow.
Yeah.
effect. Look, he looks almost.
He's got his teeth. He's got his teeth. He's obviously in pain, and she eats that biscuit, doesn't she? That she.
I thought the popsicle would have worked better. I know they were doing the callback to the biscuit, but the popsicle would have been just slightly more deranged, and I don't know. Who gives a fuck at this point?
Also, it's a really strange writing decision when someone reviewing it has to use the phrase, I know they were doing the callback to the biscuit. That's already a strange writing decision.
Call back to the biscuit.
Did she go and get some more biscuits, or did she just go and steal his biscuits back?
That's how it is. But we think it's the end, but it isn't.
No. Don't leave us yet, chat. We've still got more to come.
We're back to episode 2 again.
I deliberately left the blank part in the black piece of the screen.
Just to
when you think
give
it's
our
all
eyes
over,
a rest.
When you think it's all over, it isn't.
It's not, is it?
No.
This is where we go into overtime, isn't it?
We're back with Mando, believe it or not. It's like a shit sandwich with Mando as the bread either side, and again, lovely visuals. But it was funny because I kind of lay on the bed to watch this episode, and I watched it, and then I must have fell asleep around about the opening credits, and I woke up at this point, and I didn't seem to have missed anything. Funny enough, it's funny how it works out.
I don't get this. Oh, we're going back to the place where the crocodile was, aren't we?
We are, yes, we are. We're going back to the clan of Mandalorians, and
I lost the will to live by this point.
Well, they
Yeah,
I missed the part during the Mines of Mandalore where they actually picked up the sample. I thought they'd just gone in because that was always going to be the problem.
that.
Is that if they had no proof,
Awesome shit.
they could just lie. So when they do turn up, and he says, "I've bathed in the Mines of Mandalore," and the guy says, "Yeah, you're lying." It's like, yep, fair point. That could just be it. But no, apparently he picked up a convenient sample of the water.
Ego MJK84 in the chat. Oh God, is this the opening scene again? How the fuck do you think I felt when I was doing the slides?
He could have just
Brownie-
like taken his boot off and emptied it, couldn't he? And just said, "There you go."
It's very stupid.
Squeezed
the
out one
whole
of his
thing's
socks.
stupid. Yes, I'm saying it's just stupid. The whole thing's stupid. Just
Brownie, back to the weekend at the Crack Den in York. When you took the old long johns off, what did one of those prostitutes remark?
That guy has a small head.
Oh, that's harsh. Don't listen to them, Brown.
Pardon?
You can get it out on the next stream. Apparently, you can
I
do
will.
that now.
I'll piss later. Don't worry.
So is Baby Yoda? Just remind us all, still here.
Boo-bama.
And basically, they're just trying to convince this clan that they are what do we call it? Redeemed, refreshed,
Redeemed.
Refreshed.
rewatered. I don't know.
At this point, I just thought, because all the Mandalorians just come out of nowhere, don't they? Just start standing around. And John Favreau's character, Pax Vizsla, or whatever his name is, this guy,
He's a bad motherfucker. He is.
Big dude.
he's just sort of standing in the opening to this cave, isn't it? And just not. It doesn't look like he's been doing anything. The first thing that came into my head was like, what do these people do all day?
nothing.
Same as
Why is
Botox
there no
Karen, they just sit
crocodile on
around.
this one?
I killed it.
Yeah,
How did they shift it?
they ate it.
All right.
That's
so
why that
they're
guy's
still
so big.
All right, they're still eating crocodile.
You see the size of his rocket pack. It has to be like
Exactly.
twice as big as everyone else's because he can't get off the ground otherwise.
And what about that guy there in the background with different boots on? He's got one white one, he's got one black one, and he's got his knee pads one lower than the. Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
never get dressed wearing your Mandalorian helmet.
exactly. So stupid.
So they're trying to convince them that they've, and they're not believing them, are they? They're saying
that-
no, and
yeah.
then Mando produces his veil of holy water, and then they say, okay, well, we'll put that to the test. And then they're going to go and see the armorer, I believe, who has got some kind of procedure to test Bob's
Franco
holy
Walker
water.
in the chat. Who ate all the crocs?
Croc lives matter.
No, they're still eating it.
I think they're wearing them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It can't have been gone that long. How did they get rid of it off the beach?
Don't know.
They've had Obi-Wan
Don't
chopping it up
know.
in the back.
Oh yeah.
It's all tied together.
It's pretty amazing though how they do this though. Seriously, the effects are top notch in this.
It
really
is.
More Mandos.
Looking
Oh,
bad.
dark side of the walk. He's been lurking. R.I.P. Croculon.
Sorry, folks. We're on overtime now. Sorry, folks.
We're gonna wrap this shit up, but we are approaching the end because
We are now.
and don't expect some big finale. It's basically just they pour some water into a dish and that's pretty much
Here
it,
you
isn't
go,
it? I mean,
Franco. Rest in peace, Calculon. Yes, a very, very sad loss.
so Armorer is going to do the test. What would have happened if they couldn't prove he had bathed in the waters of
That's what I'm
Kathleen's
saying.
Lynch?
End of show.
They're just taking his word for it. He could have just took the sample and not gone in. This makes that. It's like, how does that prove that he went in?
I think there's a chemical reaction because the armourer
Yes.
used a vial of liquid in the last episode, which had the same flowy ethereal effect once you poured it into the water.
It did, but I think the instant point is that he could have just taken that sample, but the ritual demands that he bathe in the waters of Mandalore. He's shown that he's picked some up, not that he went in.
Well, it's a
So
trust thing, isn't it?
yeah, there is a trust element. It's not the biggest trust element that's required. The biggest trust element is with Bo-Katan, because she jumped in to save him, which is fine. She bathed, so by the laws of the ritual, she could be redeemed. But then she's just asked, have you taken your helmet off since? And she says, no. And so like, okay, fine, you can become one of us now, and eventually end up leading the clans inevitably. But as long as she never takes the helmet off again, which might actually be a good thing because the acting would improve.
What's this woman's gas bill like?
Yeah, I was thinking that earlier on. Like,
yeah.
Mandalorian always has the gas hob on. Is she just like in the kitchen doing cooking all the time, or what? What's happening?
Brutal.
How are you supposed to fall in
Thunberg look
love
like that.
or have sex when you have the helmet on all the time? It's ridiculous. The whole thing about Mandalorians is just stupid.
Well, we said the other week, clank, clank, clank.
Ian, I think what happens is they get completely naked apart from the helmet. But then the man's penis has a mini Mandalorian helmet on it.
It's daft. The whole thing is daft. It really is. Oh my god, this show was so boring.
I can't remember where the conversation goes, but essentially,
Grogu's good though.
yeah, he twitches
The
his ears.
personality of these characters
Very
is
cute.
just dynamic as hell, isn't it? Really, you know, they're so
Oh, here we
excitable.
go. The armourer. That's Emily Swallow.
Does she?
Does she?
Does she? Oh,
We said this joke last time. Come on,
oh,
guys.
come on, Brown.
Come
It's
on.
fucking 25 to 1 in the morning on a school night. You're doing that?
Sorry, mate. There you go. That's the water going funny, isn't it? With the
Yes, it
redemption
is.
shit.
So we get the affirmative. He's not lied. He is redeemed. And I think that's a wrap for Mando season 3, isn't it? No more episodes.
No, another 17 episodes
I
to
hope
go.
so. Oh my god. Why?
Oh Lord.
She said she's bathed, blah, 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 kept her helmet on. She's lying through her front teeth. Who
Wow,
cares?
not really.
No, when she rescued him and took him out, she didn't take a helmet
Yes,
off
since-
from that point. Yeah.
Oh,
from that
okay.
Since
Fair enough,
bathing
fair
in
enough,
the
Yeah.
rivers of redemption, yes.
It's like you
So-
doing the same thing as your friend and suddenly finding out that you're a Jehovah's Witness too.
yeah. Yeah.
I like the old Mandalorian skull thing, emblem. I wouldn't mind that in the
Oh, good for
toy
you.
room.
I'd rather have what's the name ship. I think that's awesome. If that's for sale, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, spaceship's good, yeah.
And are we into the fantastic
Yeah,
graphics at the end
there
now,
was a
Brown?
moment where I just thought, fuck the rest of the slides, just do this, because it just tells, it just tells the story
doesn't it?
perfectly.
Yeah, that's the story.
15 slides tells it perfectly.
Well, as we are in the post-credit sequence and it's so goddamn late, should we think about doing a wrap and a rating?
Yeah, chat as
I'm
well.
looking
Give
forward
us
to this.
a
Chat as well,
God.
yes.
people in the chat. If you've seen it, give us a mark out of 10.
Thank
Do
God.
it.
And we'll get the flock out of here.
Z, let's go with you first. Give me your closing thoughts and your scores on the board.
Well, the first third, I'm going to give a 6 out of 10. But the rest of it is going to be a 4 because it just dragged and dragged and dragged. And I really don't give a shit about Pershing.
Okay, that's slightly more generous than I expected. Lord Chord, give me your closing thoughts and your score, if you would, sir.
I think I gave episode 1 a 2 out of 10. I would have given episode 2 like a 1.5. I'm probably going to give this one a 2.1. No, a bit higher, 2.3. 2.3 out of 10. I think it probably is the best of the three, which is just says more about the other two than it says about this one.
Can I just pull rank? I don't think we should do half points on this.
I'm going to have to round it down to 2, but that's much
There you go
less.
then. That's more
Well,
realistic
just
then.
to differentiate it, no, I'm going to say 3 to differentiate it, because it's not as bad as episode 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Mega Geek, I'm bracing myself for your closing thoughts.
5 turds.
My closing thoughts is this is absolute rubbish. I really don't want to carry on watching this show. It's so boring and so slow.
Got to.
Just only good thing about it is the special effects, and that's it really. And I just like this is gonna. I'm gonna be generous. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of. Is it 5? Is it or 10?
10.
There you go, folks.
10. I'll give it a 2. That's me being generous. Absolute bollocks.
Those are all the Star Destroyers being decommissioned.
The graphics are just superb. Just literally just fast forward to the post credits.
I think next week we'll just do the end slides be
That
easier.
is still
Mega Geek,
bugging
there's
me,
no
though.
no doing a Gary Lineker on this show. You're going to have to come back next week, I'm afraid.
We are explicitly told in A New Hope what use a stunt fighter is going to be against that. So you're telling me that they are voluntarily doing away with the entire Imperial Starfleet because stunt fighters are better. Okay, then. Fine.
It's just stupid. It's because they don't think it through, do they? Just like what Ben is saying. Why would you? Why do you just keep these damn things? Because they're so. Anyway, I give in. It's just ridiculous. Some things just rubbish.
2 dikes out of 10. Another score coming there. Swappers, can't wait to hear your closing thoughts and your score, sir.
Oh God, Jesus Christ! I can't even remember this episode. Right, the first 5 minutes, I'd give about a 7, maybe 7 or 8, and that was mostly because of the effects. They were dynamite. But the next 40 minutes, a half point, and then the final bit about a 3 or 4, perhaps. So add all those up. I can't do maths.
Someone will do it in the chat. I can't. I've lost the fucking will to live at this point. Brownie, I'll save you to last. I'll give you my. I'm pretty much on a par with the rest of the group there. I think the opening scenes, if only for the effects, if nothing else, were let's say entertaining. The 40 minutes which followed just didn't belong in this show. It was fucking pointless and annoying. And then, the closing scene just really wanted to wrap this shit up. I'm going to give it a 2. I'm going to give it a big fat 2. Brown, take us home.
You know what? The real stars of this program are the backroom boys, the VFX artists. You know, the special effects people. They've recently had a bad rap with many Disney, Marvel type things. But I think we know the story's shit. It's bollocks. The production, the way it looks, everything's just top drawer. And I'm going to give it... I'm going to be generous, 5, purely because of the hard work from the backroom boys and girls.
Although the real stars are actually the ones you see in the backdrop of the space battles.
Who's that? But anyway.
And thank you very much for the shout outs. Unfortunately, despite the generous tips, I don't think Brown can afford me. But I will be back next week if we are doing Mando next week. I don't know how many will corral into that one, but it can only get better, surely.
Don't say
It
that.
can only get better.
I don't think so somehow.
I'm just fascinated where they're going to go with it. It's
Oh dear.
Brownie, we got there.
We
should thank the guests, the chat, and thank God we made it through in one piece.
2.5 minutes.
If you've got some kind of OCD going on, you have to get to an even number.
Yes.
Okay, give it your closing spiel, Brown, because I can't do it as well as you.
It's been a rough ride, folks. It was torturous doing the slides. I've never felt as much pain as doing the slides for this one.
You've had piles, mate, so.
Proper pain.
Yeah. And he had a hell of a weekend in York with a couple of prostitutes.
I know. I will say, chat, as always, you are truly wonderful. We are truly blessed. You are, the pups nuts, as it were. Always great to see you. I will thank the guests. I will thank Zee-ThreePIO.
Always a pleasure, sir. Never a chore.
Thank you.
ASMR ending to the show.
Yeah.
The Mega Geek himself, Ian David Diaz.
No worries.
Oh, he's ruined it.
Bastard.
Of course. You know me.
what's his name? I'll just bear with me. User
User what?
56844667463B. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And I was going to say last but no means least, but it isn't. And we will thank the boy wonder himself. The Lord is back, everybody. The little Platoon.
Thank you as ever.
Moist.
That's for you. F. McPherson, that's for you. Moist.
Moist.
And last but by no means least, the destroyer of franchises, the destroyer of Kathleen Kennedy's back doors, it is the wonderful Ruin Johnson.
Thank you, man, babies. I just want to ruin it all and subvert your expectations with my big, loud fucking voice. But no, thank you, Mr. Brown. It's been an absolute pleasure. And I can't wait to not watch The Mandalorian again.
Oh,
We're
yes.
nothing without the chat.
We are. Shall we give the final word to channel favourites in the chat? Velma Dinklage, Nevermind. Picard, yes, is on tomorrow night. And on that bombshell, let's get the fuck out of here. Bye, everybody. See you next time. Tatty bye.
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 Hmm.